Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour, Utah Governor Spencer Cox has announced an initiative to make AI development pro-human. In an AI summit, Governor Cox says that every decision made for AI should be asking if it is helping humankind or making us dumber. In a video posted to his X account, Cox says humans should always stay in control of this technology.
We have to apply Utah values to this new technology, and if we do this right, Utah can continue to lead not just the country, but the entire world when it comes to the adoption of these tools in ways that make us better human beings.
Actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt also spoke at the conference, voicing his concerns for the safety of children and supports AI regulations. Waymo's self-driving cars are starting to drive more like humans, for better or worse. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
The AI used in the cars are trained using real-life drivers, so now they're starting to model some real-life behavior, like making some rolling stops, illegal U-turns, gunning it at green lights, and running yellow lights. The Wall Street Journal reports it's part of the company's goal to make the cars confidently assertive, because extremely passive drivers are dangerous drivers. The company says that doesn't mean the cars aren't safe, and compared to human drivers, there have been 91% fewer crashes involving a serious injury. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump does not want any more Somali immigrants in the U.S. This comes as ICE prepares to ramp up operations in Minnesota.
The president criticizing Somalis for weeks now, terminating temporary protected status for Somalis and writing, "Send them back to where they came from." And this morning, the Trump administration cracking down on immigration nationwide, pausing all immigration applications for people from 19 so-called countries of concern, including Somalia, Afghanistan, Venezuela, and Sudan.
ABC's Rachel Scott reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow right now up 218. That's 0.5%. We're at 47,693. Coming up, we've got a chance of some more precipitation, rain, maybe even snow. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:03. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
There's no place like home, but home ownership is slipping away in Utah, and young Utahns are being priced out of their own communities. The U.S. economy is built on the idea that 30% of your income should go towards housing. But in Utah, families are spending nearly 66% just to keep a roof overhead. On top of that, the average homeowner in Utah has nearly $400,000 in net worth. For renters, it's barely $10,000. And with Utah already on track to be short more than 153,000 homes by 2030, that gap is only growing. Every community in Utah plays a part in finding solutions. More homes mean more opportunity for teachers, nurses, police officers, and every family that makes Utah what it is. Learn more about Utah's housing shortage and what we can do to begin to fix it at demandmoresupply.com. That's demandmoresupply.com. Make your voice heard right now. Log on to demandmoresupply.com. demandmoresupply.com. Together, we can keep families close.
Hey, get in. What? Who are you? I'm future you. Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Yeah. Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here's Cormac Bone.
We have two crashes on I-80. The first is in Tooele County eastbound just after the 201 freeway. They're causing heavy delays as you try to get into Salt Lake this morning. And the next is in Parley's Canyon, also eastbound as you approach the summit. No delays from them. And northbound I-15, seeing workflow slowing still just after the point of the mountain. And then you get a little break till you reach the south interchange where it's slow into downtown. But good news for Lake Point drivers, the heavy delays from this morning have cleared out. It's still a little slow on northbound SR36, but nothing too serious. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, endless possibilities with 3 locations. Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, and Performance Toyota, where excellence is standard. Start your search at performancebountiful.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be partly cloudy today with a high around 40 degrees. Another good chance of rain Friday into Saturday. Right now it's 34 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Give it up, yeah. Money. It seems like there is no end to the amount of money that people are willing to spend, both the Republicans and the Democrats, to repeal or to try to keep in place a Proposition 4, Utah's anti-gerrymandering law. And it's been through so many, Holly, iterations. It's gone to court, it's gone to the Supreme Court, it's gone back to the trial court. The Utah legislature is taking a second look at it, second, third, or fourth look at it. And now we're hearing that there may be another ballot initiative next year to do away with the ballot initiative that was in 2018.
Well, it's not just hearing; they're actively gathering signatures, and it's a little small group headed by Rob Axson, who's the chair of the Utah Republican Party. One of the things that's interesting about what's happening is when the GOP, the Utah GOP, has spoken about the efforts to keep Proposition 4 in place. And when it passed in 2018, one of the things that they really kind of make fun of is that there were a number of out-of-state donations for the effort in 2018. Well, right now, there's something in 2025, right, the end of 2025. Right. They have raised over $4 million from one single out-of-state donor.
Yeah, Securing American Greatness, Inc., a mailing address in Beverly, Massachusetts, has raised and given to the Utah Republican Party, or at least Utahns for Representative Government, which is a GOP.
That's the group, yeah.
Right. $4.35 million over the course of just the last 4 weeks. Raised a ton of money. So, I mean, it's an...
And that's the only donor, right? That's right. One of my points, is that's the only donor. So they wanted to point fingers in 2018 that the Better Boundaries people, whoever it was, the official name of the organization at the time, who promoted the Citizens Initiative, they had local donors, but they also had some out-of-state donors. But now, right, it's a little hypocritical to say we're getting millions of dollars, and those are the only people who care. That was
the Action Now initiative in 2018, which was a nonprofit 501c4. This is another 501c4, which, by the way, is a nonprofit social welfare organization, we call it, which means it can have social or political activities related to it, but it's also a nonprofit. So, I mean, I've formed and worked with nonprofits. You've probably worked for a zillion of them, and I understand how they work. So it doesn't offend me necessarily, although it does seem to be, who are these people and what's behind it? An answer to both of those is you may never know.
Right, because they don't have to disclose who their donors are or where their money's coming from, right? That's one of the issues is you don't really know. There's one organization listed out of state. We don't know who has donated to that organization or who might be behind that organization.
So 4 or 5 years ago, it may have been longer, when the last Democrat was held a seat in Congress, Ben McAdams ran against Burgess Owens. At the time, that was one of the most expensive House seats we'd had in our country. It was very, very expensive. And this particular seat seems to be drawing money from even 6 or 7 years later. It just seems to be drawing more and more money. And it's one seat out of 435. You wonder what people are willing to spend to do that. But and here's another thing. Who knows what the ballot is going to look like in 2026?
We still don't know.
Right now, we assume it may very well be what we call the donut.
Yeah.
So the sort of the limited area in Salt Lake County. But I would bet just about anything, Holly, that's a one-off, that we will never have that geographical boundary again, either because the voters will do away with it, the legislature will do away with it, the Supreme Court will make some change. I just don't see that being, it was so thought out by everybody. I mean, you can agree or disagree, but there were certainly experts that testified, people that went to court and tried to convince the judge that it was good or bad for one reason or another. And it wasn't like somebody just pulled it out of the air. It was a very thought out by everyone boundary, and it's may just be a one-off.
Yeah, it may be. We don't know, and that's part of the frustration, I think, for everybody. So people will certainly, there are 4 candidates who've declared, Democratic candidates who've declared for that seat, but we don't actually know. So what we do know is that on December 9th, there will be a special session with the Utah legislature. We think, at least we've had legislators who have told us they think that one of the issues that they're going to address is pushing back the filing deadline until March after the legislative session, so that that gives more time for a court process to play out. We're waiting at the legislature basically is trying to get this case in front of the Utah Supreme Court to rule against Judge Gibson. That's their hope, right? And, I don't know, but I do find it interesting that one of the things they're trying to do is to convince Utah voters to undo something that they did in 2018, and to basically tell the legislature, give the legislature permission to overturn or invalidate any citizen's initiative that impacts government.
And we've heard repeatedly from Republican legislators, correctly, defining correctly, that there wasn't much money spent on opposition to Prop 4 in 2018.
Right.
And that we keep hearing from them that it passed by hair. It was not a huge.
It was more than 50%.
Yeah, I think it was like 53%. So it was
50 point something.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
50.3.
50.3 maybe. Yes. So anyway, hey, we didn't put up much of a fight. It barely passed. Let's take a look at this again. Maybe it'll be on the ballot again. My guess is if it's on the ballot, the citizens now being more informed than they were in 2018, it may pass by a bigger greater margin.
Yeah.
I don't know that some of these groups are going down a road that they're going to be glad they went down, because it seems to me that the citizens, even today, are saying we have been poorly gerrymandered. Maybe we are right now again, if you listen to some GOP representatives, and we need to revisit that.
Yeah, again, we'll keep an eye on that. It's just interesting that we've got all this out-of-state money now.
Yep.
Okay, Utah held an AI summit, artificial intelligence, yesterday, and the governor has 6 key areas that he wants the state to focus on. We're going to talk about those when we come back after the break.
Hey, this is Dan the Laptop Man from PC Laptops. Myth. You might have heard that you need to spend a fortune these days to get a powerful computer. Correction. At PC Laptops, we wanted to prove that wrong. So here's the most amazing deal that we've ever done at PC Laptops for you in over 30 years. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Take one home today. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $9.99, PCLaptops.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. The other night with my wife, Dee, we saw Frozen at Hale Center Theater, and it was delightful. I have a little confession. You know the song, Let It Go? My little granddaughters sing that so much that I'm afraid I haven't fully appreciated it until I saw it performed at Hale Center Theater. The artistry of the presentation and the staging brought that song to life for me. I have become a true believer. And the puppetry at Hale Center Theater, when they bring Sven out and when they have Olaf, you are going to love it. And don't forget, they have special presentations of Frozen where you can bring the younger kids. We've already got that booked for our family. It's Frozen on the stage right now at Hale Center Theater. And of course, you've got to make sure you get your tickets for A Christmas Carol. It always sells out. And by the way, Frozen is selling out very, very fast. Go to hct.org and lock down those tickets. Get season tickets for the holidays and so much more. hct.org.
Are you within 3 years of filing for Social Security? You've heard about delaying your benefits to get a bigger benefits check, right? But guess what? That could be a huge mistake. When you consider your taxes, Medicare premiums, and other benefits, you could potentially get more income by filing early. Find out the precise timing that could get you the most money possible with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. Don't leave one dime on the table that's rightfully yours. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Boss Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the Social Security Administration.
This holiday season, give the gift of love that lasts a lifetime with Duke's Jewelers. For over 75 years, the Dukes family has been part of Utah Valley's story, helping yours celebrate life's most cherished moments since 1948. Dukes is more than a jewelry store. They're craftsmen, creating timeless pieces and custom designs that capture the magic of the holidays. Whether it's a sparkling necklace, a custom ring, or restoring a family heirloom, Duke's Jewelers pours their heart into every gift. Because jewelry isn't just about sparkle, it's about love and legacy. This Christmas, make your loved one feel like part of the Dukes family. Find the perfect gift at Duke's Jewelers, located at 220 South Main in Springville, or shop online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, celebrating love and tradition since 1948.
KSL News Radio congratulates the BYU Cougars on an incredible 11-1 season and their invitation to the Big 12 Championship game. Celebrate with KSL during a special edition of Cougar Sports Saturday this Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. Brought to you by BMW of Pleasant Grove. And you can experience the pinnacle of automotive innovation at BMW of Pleasant Grove on West Grove Parkway or online at bmwofpg.com. Your ultimate driving machine awaits.
If you are facing divorce, call Cordell and Cordell today.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. CordellCordell.com.
'Tis the season. Time to stock up on Winder Farms' famous eggnog, milk, and new creamy chocolate milk. Visit Smith's, Harmon's, Macy's, Fresh Market, or WinderFarms.com.
And expanded Inside Sources.
And what to do about artificial intelligence. It seems like this genie that is well out of the bottle by now, but state and federal regulators are looking at what we can do now to try to rein it in. And Governor Cox actually has held a summit, you mentioned, over the last couple days to try to rein in, or at least have some idea, maybe set some boundaries.
At least some conversation, right? Yeah.
About what we can do. He said that humans should always try to stay in control of technology, and this was highlighted in a video in the governor's social media.
We are here today to announce this initiative. These tools have to work for us, not the other way around. What we want is that every decision that we make related to AI, wherever it exists, is it serving humankind? Is it promoting human flourishing? We're looking at the impacts on workforce, industry, state government, academia, public policy, and learning. AI must always be human-guided. Systems should protect dignity, preserve human agency, and ensure that individuals stay in control of the tools that shape their work and their lives. It should expand our capabilities, not diminish them. Open new opportunities, not close them. We have to apply Utah values to this new technology. And if we do this right, Utah can continue to lead not just the country, but the entire world when it comes to the adoption of these tools in ways that make us better human beings.
Kind of jazzy.
Kind of jazzy. Look, yeah, one of the things that he said that I found amusing was wherever AI exists, we have to ask ourselves, is it serving humankind or is it making us dumber and worse? So, that makes me think of the kids' movie WALL-E. Do you remember watching that? Did you ever see that?
I don't.
The little robot, and he falls in love with a girl robot. It's very cute. But one of the things that happens is the humans in that story, and it's just an animated story, is that over the years that they've been in space, they have lived a virtual reality, and they never leave, like, their chairs. They just, everything they do is in virtual reality. They lose their bone density. Their bones actually shrink, right? It reminds me of that, right? Are we getting dumber and worse? And, yesterday we talked about it being the week of the ChatGPT birthday, this large language learning model. I'm really shocked it's only 3 years old. Right, because it feels like it has just exploded and is everywhere, this large language learning models, this AI.
What was that movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey,
oh, yeah.
where you had Hal,
Yep.
and Hal was sort of the epitome
computer,
of artificial intelligence now, sitting there and listening to people and gathering their thoughts and pretty soon taking over the aircraft.
That's right.
It was
Yeah.
The precursor of, hey, watch out what the future might hold.
Yeah, it's interesting. So during this summit, and we'll be talking actually with the director of the Department of Commerce next, but the summit being pro-human AI, I mean, I think it's interesting, right? Yesterday we also talked about scary teddy bears, and it was Teddy Ruxpin, our listeners reminded me, that was this teddy bear that you could program. But we've seen some of these toys be inappropriate, right? They can actually have conversations with children, and then they can tell them to do naughty things.
Right, and this one was about a bear that was teaching kids how to light matches or
yeah,
start a fire or something.
And find things like in the house that might be dangerous, and then there were some that were sexualized, and it's like, this is okay, this is not okay.
Right, so yeah, the pro-human AI, great idea, good concept, but the governor also laid out some pillars, what he called his 6 pillars, which I think I want to talk about just a little bit, because it's a good plan, and I think you've got to have a plan when you put something like this in place.
It is. And, the first thing he talks about is workforce. So, of course, we need people to work in these industries. And he said he wants to invest $10 million in Talent Ready Utah's targeted workforce accelerator. It's basically saying, look, how do we align our educational offerings with what the workforce needs?
Yeah, what he said was the goal is to ensure that every Utah student and worker can adapt, upskill, and succeed as AI transforms the workplace. So, yeah, he doesn't want Utah to be left behind,
right.
Workforce being one of his 6 pillars.
Yeah, and going right along with that, another one is industry. So that means basically we want to be able to help, the state wants to be able to help companies, right? They want to coordinate quote unquote moonshot challenges with companies that will drive breakthroughs in human-centered technology.
Right. He said the state will create a Best Pro-Human AI Companies Award to recognize businesses that lead in responsible human-enhancing AI, with inaugural winners to be announced at the next year's summit. So giving some incentive to businesses and employers and whatnot to cooperate and make sure that this AI animal genie stays at least somewhat contained.
There's a government component as well, and we're heading into what feels like the legislative session. It actually doesn't start till the 3rd week of January, but that's really just around the corner. But this we already have a division of technology services that has launched an AI lab They're going to roll out tools with training and safeguards to state employees. And I suspect that we're going to see some legislation as well.
Right. And Cox has said that that will pair with innovation push with what he described as the most robust government data privacy standards in the nation. I mean, he certainly wants to be on top of things here. And what a great idea to have this AI summit. I mean, you had to do it. I'm surprised it's not done in every single state right now.
Well,
Maybe
I think again we're going to hear from Margaret Busse, and I think a lot of this comes through her and being able to look ahead, right, and getting buy-in from other people in government. Of course, the governor also is looking at this, and there are lawmakers as well. But one of the other things that's interesting is they're also looking at AI in education, right? So not just K through 12, and that's an issue, but also in higher ed.
Right. And education has been one of the things that we've been scared of for AI. That is to say, kids writing papers, people taking tests, people creating, like
doing a research paper all done by ChatGPT.
When is it the work of a person? When is it the work of AI? And I remember a couple of years ago thinking AI is just going to stay out of schools. That lasted about a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and so educators were like, we can't let it in. We can't let it in. Then they're saying, we have to let it in, but we have to be able to distinguish what people are doing off of AI and what they're doing on their own. And now we're saying people should use AI in some respect. I mean, you're almost behind the eight ball if you're not using AI in creating some of your some things, but don't rely on it too much because A, it's not always accurate, and B, sometimes it runs amok in terms of where you're really trying to go.
It can hallucinate, right? I think that's interesting that they call it that. But the Utah State Board of Education, so that's K through 12, they have what they've defined as a portrait of an AI-infused learner and teacher. So they're talking about skills like creativity, critical thinking, how to write based on a prompt that you get, and data privacy literacy. But I also know teachers are using it to help create lesson plans and those types of things, right?
Right. And so when educators start using it, then they start being a little more forgiving in terms of, hey, should we let this in the schools?
One of the things, too, that came out yesterday, and this came to my email, was a press announcement from basically the Utah system of higher education. And they talked about what they're doing, too, that they're going to have a higher ed approach to AI. And I think we're seeing that more and more. And I've seen professors that I took during my PhD program, which was just a couple years ago, they're completely resistant. But I think they're going to get rolled over.
Yeah.
Like absolutely not. No AI in my classroom at all, and I think they're going to end up being steamrolled. Actually,
well, it's the same in my profession. People are reluctant, and judges are saying, "Don't bring me an AI-generated motion,"
right?
Because I can see right through it. And we've seen examples of people who did that very thing and submitted AI motions, and they were completely wrong. You look at the citations.
They cite things that didn't even happen, right? Court cases that don't exist.
So now the thing I think is if you're going to draft something, whether it's a paper or a legal brief or something like that using AI, you need to go through it again with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that everything on it is fair and accurate and that you're not citing something that doesn't exist.
Yeah. The last pillar is public policy, which goes along, I think, with government, but it also goes along with what we can talk to Margaret Busse about. But Utah, as we mentioned, they have an Office of Artificial Intelligence, and they have this sandbox. It's a regulatory sandbox. So it basically means companies can try things there, trying to get different guardrails, but it prevents them from having this really heavy burden on top of them at the same time.
Yeah. So across all 6 pillars, Cox said Utah will lead the nation to prevent anti-competitive actions. We don't end up with 5 AI companies. We need thousands. That's see where that goes. Well, good for him, and that's a great lead to where we're going next. We're going to continue our coverage about Utah and AI with the director of the Utah Department of Commerce and what Utah is doing to get ahead of the federal government.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story: police are on the lookout for a person who shot and injured someone at Wheeler Historic Farm in Murray.
I hear a pop. And I kind of turn around and I think that sounded like a... Then there's another pop, pop, like gunshot. And then it was just a complete mag dump, like, dude, I'm loaded.
Damon Hoxer tells KSL TV he heard the shots. Police say the shooting happened at the northeast corner of the farm around 5:30 p.m., and the shots were fired at a group of people. The person hit is in the hospital recovering. A Wisconsin teenager is safe after Wyoming police say they caught her accused kidnappers. The suspects are now telling investigators they were hired to take the girl to Utah. Aaron Brown is the spokesperson for the Wyoming Highway Patrol and says they used cell phone data to track down the girl and the suspects, and they were found just outside Rawlings.
We had just about all of our guys along I-80 on the lookout for this vehicle.
Both suspects are now being charged with kidnapping, and the girl is being reunited with her parents. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, a 5-hour marathon meeting between Russian leader Vladimir Putin, President Trump's special envoy, and President Trump's special envoy is being called useful but not super productive. ABC News chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell.
Crucially, there was no compromise deal on Ukraine, and few here are surprised at that outcome, believing Putin doesn't really want to end the war until he's achieved his goals. The question now is, how will President Trump respond? Witkoff and Kushner leaving Moscow early today, and they're going to brief President Trump. And for beleaguered Ukrainians, it means more bombing, more fighting, more war, and more death. Ian Pannell, ABC News in Ukraine.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 210 right now. That's 0.4%. We're at 47,684. We've got more rain and snow in the mountains off and on this week. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. When life gets overwhelming, some things tend to fall by the side.
I'm Carlos Sanchez from Draper, Utah. I was managing a business, helping out a business, doing paperwork and getting paid, and my wife got sick. We filed taxes, but then we got audited. And when I went and talked to the IRS, they didn't give me any choice. The IRS pretty much said, this is what you owe us, when are you gonna pay us? And we're talking quite a bit. But every time I drive, I listen to the radio. Jordan Wilcox, Jordan Wilcox. So I figure there's a reason this guy's on the radio. So I called him.
Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today.
The amount that the IRS came up with, close to $250,000, and the offer in compromise was about $7,600. That's it.
This is Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS nightmare. Visit endtaxworry.com.
Go for it. The outcome, it was worth it. I'm okay.
endtaxworry.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Makita knows that pros never settle, and neither do we. With Makita, you get tools that perform at the highest level on every job without compromise. Makita is for the most detailed pros, expertly engineered to deliver precision, job after job. When your work calls for the best, call on Makita. Makita, built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Looking for the ultimate holiday gift? Look no further than Minky Couture, the original luxury blanket company. Whether it's for a college sports fan or your mother-in-law, Minky Couture has the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Get the best blankets and best gifts ever and save 50% off this season with promo code KSL50. Shop online at minkycouture.com or visit any of the 6 locations. Minky Couture has you covered this holiday season with the best gift ever.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here is Tito Nani.
Things are starting to clear on I-15 going in both directions as very little slowdowns remain. Only trouble spot that looks to be is the congestion in Kaysville as you make your way southbound between 2nd North and Park Lane. Our secondary freeways are looking good. However, if you're making your way towards Salt Lake from Tooele County, we do have some slower speeds due to construction as you make your way around the mountain on I-80. Let ZeroRez make your carpet new again. Call 866-ZeroRez or go online to zerorez.com to schedule your appointment today. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be partly cloudy today with a high around 40. It'll stay the same through Friday. We have a slight chance of some more rain today. The bigger chance is Friday night into Saturday. Saturday, we have a 70% chance of rain. Right now, it's 36 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Not surprisingly, Utah wants to get ahead of the federal government when it comes to artificial intelligence tools and regulations. And so the governor we've been talking about has held a summit over the last several days to get on top of this and laid out what we talked about in the last segment, the 6 pillars of how we're going to regulate artificial intelligence. We talked about workforce, industry, state government, academia, learning and public policies, and Spencer Cox, Governor Cox, saying we need to lead the nation in preventing anti-competitive actions.
You know, that's interesting. And one of the people that is key to the summit that was just held is Margaret Busse. She's the executive director of Utah's Department of Commerce, and she joins us right now. Thanks for joining us, Margaret.
Great to be here. Thanks so much, Holly and Greg.
Could you tell us just right off the bat, why did you hold this summit and what were the goals for it?
Well, thank you for the question. We were so excited to be able to bring together a set of a broad set of folks from all over Utah that are participating in this AI economy in some way. And we wanted to be able to talk about all the different elements, dimensions, if you will, of what's happening in innovation with AI in our state. Greg, you mentioned some of those. We're calling them the pillars. It's workforce development, it's industry innovation, it's policy to protect the public, it's learning, how do we learn better, it's academic research, and it's actually the deployment of AI within our state government. And there's so many amazing efforts that are happening across all of those dimensions. And we wanted to bring those together and say, as we move forward in each of these dimensions, we want to do it in a way that is pro-human. That was the main purpose of the summit, to really be able to frame all of those efforts under that umbrella concept of pro-human.
Margaret, at the end of the day, how much of this is going to be directed, do you assume by the states as opposed to the federal government, or do you think that there will be quite a bit in both arenas?
It's a great question, and it's a question that's sort of raging right now, as you are probably well aware.
Right.
We believe that we can do all of this, all of efforts on all of those dimensions right here in the state of Utah that will make us distinct and actually make people want to be here, to participate. There's so many people that I have heard that want to be in our state for the reasons, for the values that we have, and for the fact that we are articulating this pro-human idea around AI. Because, as you know, there's so much concern and there's so much excitement. Both of those emotions are very, very apparent. They're sort of reaching a fever pitch. We want to harness the good that can come from this new technology and really make sure that we're doing it here in the state of Utah that is positive for humans, because we get to choose how we deploy the technology, and we want to choose it for the better here in Utah. The federal government is, the biggest problem there, as we all know, is Congress is very, very slow to act, and they simply have not acted in this space. And so now the debate is, should they sort of cancel, if you will, all of state-level AI regulation and say, well, we're just going to do it ourselves, but they haven't done it yet. And that's the main problem. So without anything happening at the federal government, we feel very, very uncomfortable saying that we just won't allow, the idea that we can't allow states to protect their own people. And so that's why you heard yesterday Governor Cox coming out very, very strongly against that notion.
One of the things that strikes me, Margaret, is that our federal delegation and as well as state legislators were basically in D.C. lobbying to get a piece taken out of the One Big Beautiful Bill that would have banned states for being able to regulate AI for a decade. And they were successful in that. And yet we're hearing from this Republican administration that President Trump wants, I think, by executive order to reinstate that ban. And I don't understand it. Why in this particular arena do you think the federal government is trying to override states' rights?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think that there's become a very compelling narrative out there that if we regulate AI in any form, it will make us so that we can't compete with China. And I just think that's wrong. I think it's wrong to sort of think of regulation as being a blunt instrument and to think of AI as being a blunt instrument. There's so many different forms of AI when we talk about artificial intelligence, and there's so many different kinds of regulation. I don't think that somehow by protecting our kids from a sexualized chatbot is going to somehow impede our ability to beat China in the AI race. I just don't believe that. And by the way, China doesn't allow this kind of stuff for their kids, right? And so I think, you have to get into the details of what kind of regulation are you talking about when you're saying we don't want regulation because that will impede our ability to win the war or the race against China when it comes to AI. So I think that's what's missing here. I think there's definitely a motivation to sort of curtail some of the regulations coming out of California and Colorado. We've heard many times that they like what Utah is doing. But of course, this idea of preempting any kind of state regulation would hurt us as well. And so that's why all of this is a very blunt instruments and trying to address a more nuanced problem.
We're speaking with Margaret Busse, Executive Director of Utah's Department of Commerce. Margaret, tell us about who was at the table for this summit, who was invited, and what kind of groups were there.
So we had people, it was interesting. I talked to a guy that just had a small business and was trying to understand how to better integrate AI into their business practices. And in fact, the day before the summit, we held a sort of pre-summit hackathon directly targeting small businesses to help them to come up to speed when it comes to AI. We had a lot of those folks. We had some policy people, but I think just mostly people from the industry. We also had some real luminaries come and keynote our conference, obviously including Governor Cox, but we also had Matthew Prince, who is a fellow Utahn, who is the CEO of Cloudflare. They're very, very active in this space because they're in cybersecurity. We had Chris Malachowski, who is one of the founders of NVIDIA, which of course is the largest company in the world now and provides the chips to power AI. And then we had the actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who has been very actively advocating for common sense regulation to protect kids. And so it's really an interesting variety of perspectives. And then we had people from all over Utah leading AI companies, doing the best thinking on workforce and academic research as well.
So, Margaret, we only have a few seconds left. What are you anticipating from the legislative session? Will there be ongoing legislation proposed?
Yes, there will be. We're looking at legislation around AI companion chatbots as well as deep fakes. Those are the two main ones I would say with AI, but there could be others as well.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. That was Margaret Busse, the Executive Director of the Utah Department of Commerce. Now, I want to ask you, did tariffs steal Christmas? Americans?
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Sounds like
Americans are spending more, but they're taking home less. We're going to talk with a trade attorney about the impacts of tariffs on Black Friday and Cyber Monday when we come back.
Sometimes when our furnace stops working, it's something simple we can fix ourselves, if we only knew how. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the next time your furnace stops working, before you call a company out to fix it, try this first. Go shut the furnace down and make sure your air filter is clean. Go around the house and make sure the vents are open and there's nothing blocking the return air. If it's been a while since you've changed the batteries in your thermostat, go ahead and do that too. Then go turn the furnace back on, and if it stays on, you're probably good. If it stops working again, you're probably going to want a technician to check it out. If you don't know one, Any Hour Services has a special offer for any homeowners listening. One of our HVAC technicians will diagnose and troubleshoot your furnace for only $29. Then they'll explain what they found and present you with repair options. And don't worry, our technicians service all brands. Call Any Hour Services and let them know you heard about this $29 troubleshooting special on the radio. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Well, winter is here, and many Utah kids don't have the warm coats and sturdy shoes they need to get through the upcoming cold months.
KSL's Quarters for Christmas has been helping local children for years, turning your donations into warm coats and shoes for kids right here in our community.
And every dollar you give goes directly to providing coats and shoes for kids who need them most. It's easy to make a difference. Just go online to kslquarters.com, donate what you can, and know you're helping keep a kid warm this winter.
Join us in spreading a little comfort and a lot of kindness with KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
If your family is anything like mine, you probably have a child who's hoping Holiday Magic will put a new phone under the tree this year. But as a mom, I've seen firsthand how screens and online dangers have stolen childhood from our kids. That's why I chose TrueMe, the all-make kid-safe phone for digital wellness and positive emotional health. With TrueMe, I say no to bullies, predators, pornography, and social media, so my kids can say yes to fun, safe content, safe contacts, safe apps, and a safe browser. TrueMe is everything my kids need. A phone that truly grows with them without the distractions and negativity.
Right now, while supplies last, get a free device for the holidays with a new line activation at TrueMe.com. Plans start at $24.95 a month with no contracts or hidden fees, plus support from real people right here in Utah. That's TROOMI.com.
TrueMe, create Christmas magic without losing the magic of childhood.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we help Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow's gonna be. It's gonna be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
and expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Where are you, Christmas? Why can't I find you?
Well, that's a different version.
Yeah. It's a pretty reckless Christmas, which is Cindy Lou Who and the Grinch, Taylor Monson's band. She did it as an adult this year.
All
So
right.
we want to know, did tariffs steal Christmas this year?
Well, holiday shoppers are shelling out more cash than ever. We know that. We've talked about that with the records we set with Black Friday and with Cyber Monday. But to go through some of the numbers, not only did the spending do it, we did $6.4 billion on Thanksgiving, $11.8 on Black Friday, $14.25 on Cyber Monday. But we're looking at how much are you actually taking home as far as goods go, right? So revenue from online Black Friday sales rose 3%, but the average selling price jumped 7%.
7%, yeah.
So, and it's, people, I think our texters talked about this also. It seems like everything was on sale, but actually Cyber Week prices were 7% higher, and shopping carts were 2% smaller than they were last year, meaning they were taking home less.
Yeah, but we're still spending a lot, and Americans seem to be comfortable with whatever's happening with tariffs and whatever's happening with the economy. They're coming out and spending money at record levels. I think we thought that this could be our first $1 trillion shopping
holiday
Christmas.
season. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Holiday season. Well, we have international trade attorney Michelle Schultz with us. She's founding and managing partner of Schultz Trade Law, PLLC. Thanks for joining us, Michelle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Holly and Greg. Great to be here.
Can you talk to us about the tariffs? Are they the culprit? Is that why prices are higher? And even though we're spending, we're taking home less?
Yes, they certainly are a factor, and they're unavoidable at this point. We've got tariffs on over 65 countries. I'm thinking it's over 70 now. We have increases on the tariffs. The tariffs impact a wide variety of industries, and we have different kinds of tariffs that are in effect. So even though some are in question, some are not, we have seen overall a rise in prices, and clients who are importers are really struggling to deal with the tariffs, navigate them, and either cover the cost or pass it along to their buyers.
And it also seems, Michelle, as though a lot of importers are sort of on edge with respect to what tariffs are in place at a given time. I know that the International Trade Court has found that some of the tariffs are not appropriate. But nonetheless, others are still in place and others may be appropriate. But it seems like we have quite a moving target here.
Yes, definitely. And having worked with a lot of importers and a lot of customs brokers who are filing all that paperwork, there is so much frustration because the tariffs change from day to day, and you have to understand which ones apply, also how they apply, and to what portion of the end product if the tariff is on, say, a certain kind of metal. So we're seeing a lot of mistakes. And I can't blame them, honestly. It's changing all the time, and it's difficult to understand how they stack.
Are there any specific holiday-related items that are more impacted by tariffs? So, like toys or, whatever you consider typical holiday purchases?
Yes. So, toys are up there. Also, clothing and textiles. Textiles have always been difficult, and fashion items have always been subject to slightly high tariffs, but it's more now. So I think people are buying less. They're paying more, but they're buying less. So it looks like a great spending pattern here, but actually we're paying more for many, many items, and even Christmas decorations, which are mostly made in China. Those are up. So, some people aren't even investing in Christmas decorations.
Yeah, and it seems like China Canada and Mexico still have some fairly significant tariffs. I mean, I don't know what the number is of the day, and because it changes. But and China is. Those are maybe the three biggest importers into the United States. I mean, those have got to be making a huge difference in what people are spending, just because they're such important trading partners.
Absolutely, yes. And I had a client tell me yesterday that the U.S., Mexico, Canada free trade agreement saved their year, because if they had not qualified for that on their imports, they wouldn't have been able to handle the tariffs or sustain the tariffs. It's Mexico and Canada are two of our largest trading partners. China, of course, has been very important to us, and all of those are now subject to tariffs. There are ways to qualify for free trade agreements, but not everything qualifies.
So talk to us about that free trade agreement between the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Okay. It's an exception to what we're talking about here with the tariffs? Well, that's probably not the right word.
Yes, I would say an exception. If you qualify, you can have reduced tariff rates or no tariffs on items that qualify as originating in Canada or Mexico. The problem is companies are trying to bring in goods from other countries, say China or Vietnam, and bring them in through Mexico and then stamp them Mexico. That turns into a major problem with customs and can result in penalties. So what we're doing is helping clients understand, does your item actually qualify? Was it actually made in Mexico, or is it just something made somewhere else that you're transshipping? Those transshipments are currently subject to 40% penalties, basically 40% tariffs as a penalty.
So I wanted to ask about people receiving international packages and the de minimis exemption. So there was a loophole that Americans could import up to $800 worth of goods without paying duties. So if I ordered from something online and it was shipped to me from China, as long as it was under $800, then I could get it without paying those extra duties. But I'm hearing and I'm seeing stories that some of those are now some of those customers are being hit with really big, I think, import fees. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes, I've seen similar situations, and a lot of companies in the U.S. are now realizing that anything is going to be taxed. It doesn't matter how small. It doesn't matter if it's a little toy you ordered through Amazon. There's no $800 threshold anymore, and so you may see the tariff charge on your shopping cart. You may not. You might be surprised afterwards. It really depends on the vendor and how transparent they are. But this is hitting everybody because even low-dollar items are subject to tariffs now.
Thanks, Michelle. That was Michelle Schultz, international trade attorney and managing partner of Schultz Trade Law PLLC in Dallas. And Holly, we continue to talk about tariffs and how they're affecting buyers. We've even talked about lawsuits that have been filed. We've got court hearings all over. I mean, we've got to get this tariff situation worked out. And I think that at some point Congress is going to come in and say, hey, we've got this. But in the meantime, it's the administration doing it and being questioned, and I'm sort of going out in the weeds here a little bit, in legal proceedings saying, hey, you didn't have the authority to do this. And we've got lawsuits. We've got this international trade court that has made different decisions. And I'm glad Michelle joined us because it is a little bit confusing to consumers, what's in effect right now.
Yeah.
When we come back, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is a little bit on the hot seat, and Utah Senator John Curtis is one of the senators wanting a full accounting of the shootings and the killings that have occurred with respect to drug traffickers or suspected drug traffickers. We'll be back and talk about that after this.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour. Salt Lake City is celebrating the completion of more than 100 road and infrastructure projects during the year.
All of these projects were funded by $87 million worth of voter-approved street bonds. A release from the mayor's office says these projects included 30% of the worst roads in the city. By the end of November, crews had finished 122 miles of street construction, resurfaced an additional 310 miles of pavement, and put in 70 new pedestrian signals. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The city of San Francisco is suing several major food companies, accusing them of making people sick. That includes the companies that make Oreos, Wheat Thins, Nutri-Grain bars, and Lunchables.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy has also been targeting these foods as part of his Make America Healthy Again agenda, citing a study that found nearly 70% of children's calories now come from ultra-processed foods. Kennedy has promised to boost nutrition research while pushing companies to eliminate artificial dyes. But skeptics question the long-term impact.
ABC Sophie Flay says the lawsuit targets Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and Kraft Heinz. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 227 right now. That's 0.5%. We're at 47,702. Coming up, a few more rain or snow showers on the way. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
You know, most diets will help you lose a few pounds, but Soda weight loss will help you lose years. I lost 37 pounds on the Soda weight loss program 3 years ago, and I feel younger than I've felt in decades. Andy, and it's not because of how I look, it's because of how I feel.
But you do look younger,
Thank
too.
you.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and then I looked at the before and after pictures of myself and was like, wow.
It's something when you don't have to carry all of that excess weight around. And I was at a stage in my life where I didn't want to add drugs to my regimen. I wanted to reduce the number of medications I had to take. So the nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss taught me how to have a healthy relationship with food.
And it was so helpful that I could text my nutritionist anytime I wanted to for advice, which helped me learn what I needed to know so that I could keep it off. And right now, this is the perfect time to join, because if you join now, your partner joins for free. It's the perfect gift for both of you.
It's at Soda Weight Loss.
SOTAweightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
KSL News Radio congratulates the BYU Cougars on an incredible 11-1 season and their invitation to the Big 12 Championship game. Celebrate with KSL during a special edition of Cougar Sports Saturday this Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. Brought to you by BMW of Pleasant Grove. And you can experience the pinnacle of automotive innovation at BMW of Pleasant Grove on West Grove Parkway, or online at bmwofpg.com. Your ultimate driving machine awaits.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And back to you, Tito.
Things are still looking smooth for the most part on I-15 going in both directions. However, there is some congestion if you're going southbound in Kaysville, starting just past 2nd North as you make your way down towards Park Lane. Other than that, everything looks to be moving along nicely as you make your way throughout our Wasatch Front freeways. 'Tis the season. Time to stock up on Winder Farms' famous eggnog, milk, and new creamy chocolate milk. Visit Smith's, Harmon's, Macy's, Fresh Market, or winderfarms.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Clouds today with a high of 40 degrees, more of the same tomorrow and Friday. Our next good chance for rain or snow looks like Friday into Saturday. Right now it's 36 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, Pete Hegseth's in hot water a little bit and continuing to boil up as questions remain about the boat strikes in the Caribbean. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is trying to distance himself from what they're calling a second strike on this particular boat. Lawmakers from both parties are calling it potentially a war crime. Here's ABC News Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth insists the decision to launch a second strike against a suspected drug boat in September was not his call, but Admiral Mitch Bradley, the mission commander. The Washington Post story said that Bradley launched the second strike on survivors clinging to a boat because of Hegseth's initial order to kill everyone. But the day after the strike, Hegseth said he had watched the mission in real time. But now, Hegseth says he left the room before the second strike and didn't learn of it for hours later.
So, look, dozens of people have been killed so far. And there was even a Coast Guard report that I've been seeing online from 2024 saying that 21% of the boats that were pulled over by the Coast Guard suspected of carrying drugs did not have any drugs on board. And now there's a family also from, I think, Colombia, maybe, no, it must be Venezuela, who is suing, saying that their father and husband was a fisherman and he was basically summarily executed by the United States. So one of the issues, I think, is the way the story's been changing. So you heard a little bit from Martha Raddatz there that he initially said he was there watching. So when the Washington Post broke a story saying there was a second strike, there was drone footage showing survivors in the water clinging to wreckage of the ship. He initially said, first of all, it's fake news. It was planted by critics. He went on a particular news station a day after the strike to tell them that he had watched the operation unfold in real time. He was there for the whole thing. And then there was confirmation. The White House communications director said, yes, there was a second strike, and this was after both Hegseth and the president had denied that there was. Then Caroline Leavitt said, well, actually, yes. There was, and now he's saying, well, it was fog of war, and I didn't actually see anything, but it was done. I left the room, in fact, and it was Admiral Frank Bradley who did it. And I support him. I mean, if you're going to throw somebody under the bus, that is the way, like it's out there in the open.
Throw him way under. So, we're talking about first strike and second strike, and I think there are a lot of people who don't necessarily find a distinction in terms of whether or not it was inappropriate, whether or not it was a war crime. But the second strike seems to be more brazen. So if you've got a boat and it's a high-speed boat, it's traveling, it may have drugs, it's coming to the United States, we need to stop it. You do. You stop it. You've stopped the threat, whatever you're saying, and I don't know that it's either there or not. Then you've got people clinging to the side of the boat. They're hanging literally for their lives. And you do a second strike to do nothing except kill them.
Yeah,
that's the only purpose of it. It's not to stop drugs. It's not to prevent something from coming. I mean, these people are just hanging on, and people are concerned now. And this is why we have now bipartisan concern in Congress saying, "Hey, we need to figure this out." Hegseth saying, I didn't order it. In fact, I stepped out of the room. He's saying Admiral Bradley did it. And Bradley's saying, well, I was given the order to leave no survivors.
Right.
So, who's telling the truth here? If you've got a boat and people are hanging and you've got an order, leave no survivors, I guess you order a second strike.
It's interesting. from the perspective of like defining a war crime is when you're killing people who have no opportunity to defend themselves, right? That they're not actually war combatants. It's interesting. So Senator John Curtis from Utah issued a statement to KSL TV. He said he's concerned about the strike. He supports the oversight efforts by the Senate Armed Services Committee. And as chair of Senate Foreign Relations Subcommittee on the Western Hemisphere, he wants to conduct his own oversight into the strike. And I've talked with people close to Senator Curtis this morning, and they say he is interested in getting to the truth of what actually happened.
Yeah, and Curtis, who of course is Republican, declined an on-camera interview and did not respond to questions about whether he has concerns with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's leadership. Hegseth on Tuesday said he wasn't aware of any survivors of the vote. We talked about that. And then he said, he used this phrase, it was the fog of war.
Right.
Like brain fog. I don't know. The aftermath of the first strike, we're all kind of like, whoa, we're in a fog. But somebody still gave the order, or at least the people that were pulling the triggers had an order in their mind that, hey, we need to do something about this. And I mean, Senator Curtis is going to get, and others are going to get to the bottom of this, maybe, but there's certainly going to be some inquiry. And I mean, there's going to be international tribunals looking at this. I mean,
potentially.
Is this a war crime? It could very well be. What happens if it is? They're not going to extradite, Pete Hegseth. Who knows?
Not yet.
Yeah.
But look, the fog of war is a term that's been used since basically Napoleon, so early 1800s. But it really was used to describe uncertainty in military operations. So, maybe you can't get clear communication from the front line, or, the weather has obscured your ability to tell what's going on in the battlefield. To use it to describe maybe there was smoke coming from this boat after the first strike, it seems a little bit of a stretch to call it the fog of war.
We continue to see on the television these boats that are traveling across the water, and it looks like when they're hit, it's hard to imagine anyone surviving. They just literally are almost obliterated. And the first one or two or three we talked about, these are drug people coming in. Now we're learning more and more. Maybe it was a fisherman.
Right.
Maybe it was something other than just drugs. And we're up to, 80 some odd deaths? I mean,
I think the concerns from a lot of people, including members of Congress, right, is we haven't declared war against Venezuela. There are some people who say, well, there's a war on drugs. Well, we have due process, and we have it for a reason, right? And when you have the Coast Guard itself saying at least 1 in 5 boats do not have drugs on them, it seems like maybe we're doing too much, right, without asking the right questions. Certainly there are members of Congress saying, and Rand Paul's one of them, but saying this is our domain. This is where we should be involved as Congress, declaring war. And right now we haven't declared war.
Yeah, we often think of the war on drugs, but that's not a formal declaration by any means. It's something that our country's been involved in, and off and on. What do we do about drugs? And I know a lot of people feel like, why should we let the drugs hit our shores in the first place? Do something about it. But there's always, and I guess the attorney in me is always this whole due process. Well, maybe we should find out if in fact they do have drugs. And
right.
It used to be intervention. It used to be you'd see these boats and the Coast Guard could come in and say, hey, what's going on?
Right.
Stop the boat,
Yep.
do a search, whatever you need to do. It was never shoot first and ask questions later as we dealt with these type of operations. It seems to be the way that the United States is dealing with cases now, and that can't be a good look for the rest of the world.
Well, I think we're going to see Pete Hegseth needing to testify in front of Congress. I don't know if they'll close those hearings if they're classified information, but I think we can expect that this week.
Yes, and thank goodness for the bipartisan leadership who are at least going to look into it. Maybe nothing will come of it, but let's find out who gave these orders and what they were.
So as child care costs continue to soar, I know families are wondering how, could they have a parent stay home? How much money would that parent need to make? We do have an answer. It's pretty high. We're going to talk about that when we come back.
You probably know if you need new windows. You hear the wind whistling. There's condensation between the panes. Maybe your heating bill's too high, but you don't want to pull the trigger because it costs a lot of money. I understand. And they understand at Advanced Window Products. After all, they've been creating custom state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. They know what's up. That's why they offer 60-month 0% financing or buy now, pay later. You get the windows this winter for 30 to 40% less because you're buying straight from the factory. They'll build, they'll install your windows, and you don't have to pay for a year or more. At Advanced, they're committed to making your new windows affordable. And if you call now, they'll knock another $2,500 off your quote. State-of-the-art, energy-saving windows built here for Utah's changing climate. And right now, $2,500 off. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Think of a time when life knocked the wind out of you, turned you completely upside down. Now, imagine if no one showed up. That's the reality for too many in Utah. Every day, people battle mental health challenges, addiction, and homelessness, often in silence, often feeling invisible. At Volunteers of America Utah, we show up with recovery support, counseling, youth programs, shelter, and people who simply refuse to give up on others. A safe bed, a warm meal, a conversation that says you belong. And right now, your gift is matched, helping twice as many people find hope and stability. Because when you help someone feel human again, you transform the whole community. Be the reason someone finds hope today. Visit voaut.org.
Between all the holiday parties,
weekend tailgates,
and family get-togethers. Oh, they're here. Hey, who needs something to drink?
we've been overindulging a little more than usual. Thank goodness we both added active liver to our diets to give our livers some much-needed support so we have the energy we need to enjoy the holidays.
Active Liver from New Nordic contains a powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract designed to give your liver maximum protection and help it do vital jobs like removing toxins from alcohol, rich foods, and sweets.
Try Active Liver today and enjoy all the holiday treats with the peace of mind of knowing you're giving your liver some relief.
Find Active Liver online at Amazon, Vitacost.com, or iHerb.com. Or pick it up today at CVS, Meijer Grocery, or ShopRite. Enjoy life to the fullest with Active Liver.
Are you within 3 years of filing for Social Security? You've heard about delaying your benefits to get a bigger benefits check, right? But guess what? That could be a huge mistake. When you consider your taxes, Medicare premiums, and other benefits, you could potentially get more income by filing early. Find out the precise timing that could get you the most money possible with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. Don't leave one dime on the table that's rightfully yours. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Boss Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the Social Security Administration.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
We continue to have to look at the cost of childcare, and there's a metric, some numbers that people are looking at now. What you have to earn per year to justify the cost of childcare as opposed to staying home.
It's an interesting number, right? And we have this survey. It's nationally, and they say in Utah this is how much you need: $82,410. One wage earner needs to bring home so the other one can stay home if there's a two-parent family. So that seems like really a lot, right? $82,410 for one parent to stay home. If both parents work, they need to earn nearly $100,000 to be able to afford childcare.
Yeah, that's because the cost of raising a child for two parents, $24,378.
I always look, as a parent, I always thought those numbers were dumb.
Right. I mean, what does it mean?
Right. I didn't spend that much on raising a child per year, and there's like an order of scale, right? Where you get
I guess if you consider food and everything that you're spending on a child, maybe you do.
Look, I always thought with our family, and we had a large family, and I stayed home for most of their lives, at least while they were young. For sure, I was home. And one of the reasons is I wanted to, and another reason is there was no way we could have afforded childcare. It would have been so ridiculously expensive for a large family that I couldn't have made enough money to make it work that way. So what we did, we didn't earn $82,000 when our family was young. My husband didn't earn that much money. And so there's lots of ways, right, that you budget. And we've talked about those before. We didn't eat out, and we didn't use packaged meals, and I made food from scratch. And I actually sewed my kids' clothes. Not all of them, but some of them. There were hand-me-downs for the kids. Like I didn't have to go buy new every single time a child outgrew something, right? It went to the next kid.
But I think young couples still need to make the determination, and then they always do. And you did as well. It sounds like, okay, we're both working. We want to have a child. How much is it going to cost to raise the child? And could we pay child care, or does one of us just need to stay home? And this number, I mean, $82,000 a year is a decent income. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and I think our texters, every time we ask for text, they always have creative solutions for this. Some of in fact, if you want to text us, you can. It's 57500. Tell us how you've made it work with childcare costs, staying home, etc. But I know that there are families who are able to work it so they alternate shifts, right? So you have shift work. So one will work later in the evenings, afternoon or evenings, while they stay home with the child. I can just tell you, I have got a couple of kids right now who are raising young children. And so one of them, my daughter, just went back to work early November, and her mother-in-law is watching the baby while she's at work. My other daughter is able to do remote work, so she works from home, so her child is there, but she's able to, work around his schedule because she has that flexibility because she can work from home.
Yeah, those are two big pluses.
Yeah.
You've either got family or you can work from home. I mean, a lot of people don't have those luxuries,
that is
obviously.
Correct.
And we've interviewed some people just on this program over the last couple of months, and I think Salt Lake County had a program at some of their
recreation
centers, yes, that they were giving some fairly subsidized costs for people that were wanting to put their children there. They were cutting it back. People went into
sobbing,
right?
Well, not just fury, but fear too, right? And they've made the decision to extend the closure through the end of the school year, so they'll keep it open through the end of the school year, and then they'll close them to give those families more time. But if you're relying on that, right? If you're doing shift work, for example, sometimes it's just so hard to find care for your child that you can afford, but you need a job, especially if you're a single parent. But we're talking about two-parent families here. It's an interesting dilemma, and again, $82,400 is not pocket change.
And we're going to talk later in the program about starter homes, and the governor wanting to build more and more starter homes. And so you've got to say we want more people to buy homes. It seems like we want to be able to at least have that available. It's the part of the American dream, and part of that requires that you have a decent income. If you're spending part of your income, this looks like about a quarter of it on childcare, or one parent staying at home,
yeah,
you're going to be far less able to afford a starter home. And so some employers are very good about having in-house childcare. Some agencies are pretty good about that. I mean, maybe the legislature is going to do something. I don't know how much they can help or spend on childcare or first-time home buyers.
There's been a couple of proposals by Senator Luz Escamilla, and they keep shutting them down. So that's an issue. But look, there's also something that could help families, and these are Trump accounts. So we've talked about this when we were talking about the One Big Beautiful Bill that was under discussion in the summer. It's all children born between 2025 and 2028 are going to automatically receive a $1,000 deposit from the Department of Treasury. They can begin opening and contributing to those accounts in early 2026. Well, they can't actually contribute until July 4th. So that's a kind of I guess, an important day, the 250th anniversary of signing the Declaration of Independence. You can put money into your kid's account.
I mean, to me, this seems like a good idea, the Trump account. The $1,000 every child gets born between 2025 and 2028. It'll be treated like almost like a 401k or some
used
sort
to
of
be like, what did you call them, bonds or something, right? They don't mature until the child hits 18, I think, or 21.
Yeah. So, we trying to figure out how this is going to be funded. We've learned recently that the family behind the Dell computers is going to donate over $6 billion to help create this account. And Trump had indicated that this would not come from public funds, that he was going to set up this account and raise money. And it seems like he's been doing a very good job of getting some people behind that.
Well, we have ABC's Melissa Adon. Tell us about that.
Michael and Susan Dell donating $6.25 billion to 25 million children 10 and younger, giving them $250 each. The Dell donation will go into savings accounts for kids who live in zip codes with a median family income of $150,000 or less and who don't qualify for the $1,000 federal newborn accounts.
Yeah, so you've got to figure out a way to fund this, not using taxpayer dollars, and you got to hand it to this Dell family for standing up to the plate with $6 billion.
It's a lot, and again, this is broader than just the newborn accounts. And Utah Congressman Blake Moore, he posted on social media how personal this feels to him. He was with President Trump yesterday at the White House as they announced new details about these Trump accounts, and we've invited him on the air, and his schedule is, I think, preventing him from joining us. But one of the things that he said is this feels personal to me, right? That this is a good idea that he really supports and backs.
Yeah, I think he has 4 boys of his own, young
right.
kids, and so he's looking at this and saying, hey, this is the kind of thing we need to do. And if you think about $1,000, you think, well, maybe that's not a lot of money. But
it grows.
But when you're talking about what it would look like in 18 years when a child graduates from high school and wants to go to college, wants to go serve a church mission, wants to go in the military, wants to buy a house, that's going to be a significantly bigger pot of gold.
That's right.
And families can also contribute to it.
That's right.
Like a 401k,
or like the college funds,
the education
right?
fund.
The education fund.
I keep thinking of the wrong
50.
concept.
I can't remember
Right.
what the number is. Yeah. So Blake Moore yesterday posted a picture and a short video of him with the Dells, which I actually didn't know Dell Computer was actually a family name, but now I know.
Right.
And their announcement, and then with the president. And he just says today's announcement is a major investment in America's children and their ability to experience the value of capitalism and achieve the American dream.
Well, maybe Congress can stand up to the plate after 2028 and continue this legacy, the Trump account, because it's really only in place now for 4 years, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 2025.
Yeah, that's right. It's the 4 years of President Trump's term.
Yeah, $1,000 deposit from the Department of Treasury. Good idea. Probably
I have one quick texter about the daycare, and they said single income home here, it would be hard to pay for daycare otherwise, let alone getting through the wait list to even get daycare. Full-time school is the only hope, along with arrangements for after-school pickup, because illness makes daycare and school problematic as well, burning through PTO early in the year as illness is fairly frequent, those are all true points, all valid.
We talked to Iron County School District yesterday talking about going to a 4-day school week, and then you think, okay.
How might that impact working parents?
Yeah, they had some ideas, some other things that might be happening to help that educational gap. When we come back after the break, employers used to hate this, but now Starbucks, Delta, and other employers are actually recruiting their staffers to create social media content about life at work. We'll talk about that after the break.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story, University of Utah Health has received a record amount of funding for research this year. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Out of a $2.3 billion of research funding requested, the university was awarded $782 million. And in the last 5 years, the amount of funding has grown 24%. The university says research funding is important to train leaders and improve health outcomes both in the state and through the world.
Some of the most important research the university has been working on includes improving oral health, advancing treatments for veterans, and studying blood pressure and brain health. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Members of Congress are pressing the White House for more answers about the growing military presence in the Caribbean.
We know in the last couple of days, President Trump has said multiple times that he is moving towards some sort of land action in Venezuela. But exactly what that looks like, whether that involves some sort of troop presence on the ground, whether that's just airstrikes, we really don't know. And I think that's what this entire region is really looking at when you have so many thousands of military members in the waters off the coast here.
ABC's Matt Rivers reporting. Your money at this moment. The Dow is up 334 now. That's 0.7%. We're at 47,808. Coming up, a chance of rain or snow later this week. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
It's the time of year when family gathers and we spend more time inside our homes. The last thing you want to worry about is the health and cleanliness of your carpets. With the rush of the holidays, no one has time to tackle that job alone. So let Zero-Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning handle it for you. Most people don't realize the impact carpets can have on your health. Trapped dust and debris affect the air you breathe and the way your home feels. Zero-Res uses patented technology with no detergents or harsh chemicals, which leaves your carpets cleaner for longer and safe for kids and pets. And if you're not satisfied, they'll re-clean any areas for free within 30 days. Right now, you can get 3 rooms clean for $129 when you mention KSL. Refresh your home before the holiday craziness. Call 866-ZERO-RES or go to Zero-Res.com. Spelled the same forwards or backwards. Zero-Res is the right way to clean.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
If you're getting new gutters, make absolutely sure that you don't get screwed. I mean literally, don't get screwed. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And every single gutter company out there uses screws to hold their gutters together at the corners and downspouts. They use screws because they're fast and cheap and easy. But man, they're terrible for your gutters, aside from possibly cutting your hand. They also loosen and corrode over time because they're not made from the same metal as the gutters. At RGS Exteriors, we've been installing gutters for 70 years now, and we don't use screws. We only use permanent, strong, and unobtrusive rivets. They're made from the same material as the gutters, so they won't oxidize, and they won't corrode. They'll also never loosen. Your hand is safe too. Did I mention they look amazing? So don't get screwed. Call RGS and get riveted gutters. Our number is 801-280-3110, or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110, or rgsutah.com.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here is Tito Nani.
Got a nice quiet drive this hour if you're traveling either direction on I-15. However, we are still seeing some slight congestion if you're going southbound in Kaysville, starting just past the 2nd North exit as you make your way towards Park Lane. Other than that, all other Valley freeways look to be moving along at a great pace with no slowdowns or accidents to report. Take UTA instead of driving and actually enjoy your ride. Try UTA to see the difference. Plan your trip at rideuta.com or on the Transit app. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll get up to 40 degrees today with clouds, dry on Thursday, but Friday and Saturday, we have another chance of rain, maybe snow those 2 days. Right now, it's 36 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So it's a new in-demand job skill, according to the Wall Street Journal, and that is being a TikTok influencer for your company.
I want to see you do that.
Yeah, right. I have yet to join TikTok. Anyway, employers used to not like it because employees are sort of getting away from their line of work and being on TikTok. Now, some employers are actually recruiting staffers to create social media content about life at work. Here's KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Many companies are looking for employees capable of making TikToks, videos about new products, work routines, and perks of the job itself. Starbucks is just one of them, encouraging a test group of about 53 baristas to make content on the job. The Wall Street Journal reports it lets them showcase their workplace environment as cool and relaxed, and also lets the employees build their content creation skills, possibly going viral. It's overall an advertising opportunity, raising brand awareness and helping businesses relate and reach a younger crowd. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
It's just interesting to me, right? Because when social media first came out, and this would predate TikTok, but even posting on social media, like there were a lot of companies where you had to get anything approved that had to go through your corporate channel, right? If it had anything to do with work, if you're going to post on Facebook. And this very Wall Street Journal talking about these TikTok influencers, they've fired people for posting stuff that they didn't like, right? And now they're saying, well, we're going to reach out. So we actually have an expert in the room. It's Caitlin Johnston, our producer.
Hello.
And content creator to talk to us about what are does this surprise you that now companies are recruiting current employees to also be content creators?
It does not surprise me. I think I see a lot of benefits, but I also have some concerns about what it means kind of long term. Because we are in this age of social media, right? And things go viral, especially specifically Starbucks. You see someone talking about this new drink that they have and it looks so good and you have to go get it. We've all been influenced by social media. And for the pros, I'll just stick to the pros for a second. I do think there's benefit to learning how to do video, how to create content, adding this to your resume, especially if you're younger. You know, Starbucks is kind of like your college job and you may have a broader interest in that. I think there's a lot of benefits with that. What I worry about is that this will be a requirement for all employees. And because content creation is not that, it can be easy depending on the video you want, and more practice, you can become faster at it, but it is a full-time job to do content creation. So there's how far will this go with companies is kind of my question. We understand this. We try to stay afloat with social media. It's hard, on top of our daily duties. But I worry that it could be abused a little bit, because what if someone just wants to be a barista and now they're kind of forced to do this? That's not what is happening right now. I'm not accusing that, but I could see it.
So what if somebody wants to be a social, what do they call them?
Social media
content
creator,
influencer,
right?
Social influencer,
video editor,
and they sort of hire on at that. I mean, what would that look like?
Well,
I mean, what do you? I mean,
that is
I know
a
it's
job.
hypothetical
Yeah.
right now, but what would the job? So if I'm going online and I see somebody that works at Starbucks that's really likes their job and they're having fun, or I don't know, what does it look
Well,
like?
behind the curtain, I guess just what it means. I mean, on top of being a barista, I'll just speak like just generally how to make social media content. You go in, you film things, you are making it short and sweet for the current climate of social media. It's short and sweet. Our attention spans don't like the longer stuff anymore. But that short video, depending on how you make it, can take hours to make sometimes, depending on what it is. Sometimes it's a one take and that's not as big of a deal. But if you want to look polished and nice, it's going to take some thought and effort. And that can take up, a little bit of your day. And on top of, and they did say with Starbucks that they are paid per post, I believe. Didn't say how much in the Wall Street Journal. I hope it's good pay.
I'm guessing it's probably not.
It might not be, but it all depends
bonus
on experience
pay, maybe.
too.
Right, yeah.
But like this is a full-time job, and it's something that like I do, freelance video work on the side, and it's something I have a really, really hard time keeping up with because of my full-time job and stuff like that. So I don't know if every single person out there understands the toll it takes to create content. So it's just my general concern. But it is, this is the new generation. It's a job. Content creators it's a job.
Yeah, so. I do think it's interesting that Starbucks still, so we're picking on Starbucks, but that's who was in the Wall Street Journal article. But they prohibit their baristas from posting while they're on shift, while they're in their aprons, while they're behind the bar, unless it's pre-approved and coordinated with marketing.
Yeah, so with this, I guess there's this now selected group, which is it's an interesting way to do it, I think. But I remember there was a viral TikToker, I don't remember his name, but he went viral for posting he worked at Starbucks, and I do remember him being fired, and I was actually shocked by it. I was like, but your videos are great.
Yeah.
What's going on? And so it's kind of, I don't know, now that this is here, those employees who got kicked to the curb are probably like, well, that's
happened?
Not very nice.
Yeah. I know.
Because they started it.
You mentioned how much time it takes, and one of the people that was highlighted in this Wall Street Journal article about TikTok is a Delta employee, and she's she's a little bit older than me actually, flight attendant, and she's saying that she's spending about 5 hours a week learning about video creation and those types of things as she does these videos. And so, yeah, even as I think about it, I try to do a short TikTok every day just to summarize what we've talked about on our show. It is almost always a one take. It's not professional. I don't add music. I don't do anything in the background. I don't even make sure my lighting is perfect. It's like
and
you
one
get what
takers,
you
like
get.
I said, can be quicker, and that's how you get it done to keep up with the masses of
demand.
social media and the demand out there. But getting a little bit creative if you want to switch one angle. Like there are so many ways to be creative with video, and it's just
So you're saying I need to do better,
No,
and
no, 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 no,
Greg
no.
needs to get on social media.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that social media is powerful.
Yeah.
It's very loud, and you have to keep up with the demand. And so I understand why companies are doing this. But I also think employees should kind of be aware of the boundaries they need to have. And I'm not an HR professional. I'm just saying be paid correctly for what you're being asked to do if you're asked to be a full-time social media influencer and a barista.
So you just said you understand why they're doing this. So from a marketing perspective, if I'm an employer, why would I do this? To bring attention to my company?
That's where the people is on social media. You're scrolling, and you see a little tasty drink, a Christmas special at Starbucks or wherever coffee shop you want to go to, and you're like, wow, I want that, I'm going to go get that. Or you just keep thinking about it because you keep seeing that same drink. It's been influenced. Or that sweatshirt that's cute. It keeps popping up on your algorithm because you clicked on it once.
Yeah.
Things like that. That's how they get inside your brain.
That's
and
how
it's marketing. It's just it's a business strategy. So.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And this the flight attendant that I mentioned, she does tips for travelers, right? That's interesting. The barista that you mentioned that lost his job was just showing the process of creating a complicated drink, right? I mean, that's interesting too. And I know my 11-year-old Jazzy, she's gone to go get the pink drink from Starbucks because she's seen it on social media.
Yeah, the pink drink was viral on YouTube for
Yeah.
a long while. I'm surprised it's still like a viral thing.
We only tried it once. It was very, very sweet.
It's all right.
But she had to go try it because of what she saw.
Yeah, no, social media is very powerful. That is where the people are, especially the young generation, and that's how, if something goes viral, it will, be hyped up on a menu or whatever. So
I'm glad you mentioned cute sweatshirts because
Something
my
like anything
co-host
like that.
has a sweatshirt that says Holly Holly.
No, it's Holly Jolly.
Oh, Holly Jolly, and you certainly are today. I mean, how clever is that? And it's
Christmas
darling.
time. It's
I love
Christmas. Okay, so speaking of social media, actually, I wonder if it's a solution for the governor to get his goal of 35,000 starter homes by 2028, because we are way short of that goal. We're going to talk about what he hopes to see in the next year.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Step into the magic at Holiday Lights at the Ballpark of America First Square. Get tickets at the ballpark at afs.com. Make this season unforgettable. Holiday Lights at the Ballpark.
Hi, I'm Andy, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As a product development manager, I make sure every piece of fine jewelry at Shane Company is meticulously designed for quality. From 14-karat gold chains, pearl necklaces, diamond studs, and of course, dream engagement rings. We know you can get your holiday gifts anywhere these days, but knowing your loved one's gift was crafted by master jewelers? It's a difference everyone can see and feel, no matter the price. All of our fine jewelry begins with a vision by our in-house designers. Then, we ensure each piece meets our high-quality standards every step of the way, including the smallest details. It's why our jewelry comes with our all-inclusive, free lifetime warranty that covers everything and doesn't cost a dime. At Shane Company, there's no shortcuts, just craftsmanship. Because a friend wants your fine jewelry to be nothing short of perfect. Come see for yourself. Visit us in store or at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Winter is here, and kids in Utah don't have the warm coats and sturdy shoes that they need to get through the cold months.
KSL's Quarters for Christmas has been helping local children for years, turning your donations into warm coats and shoes for kids right here in our community.
You need to know that every dollar you give goes directly toward providing coats and shoes for the kids who need them most. It's easy to make a difference. Just go online to kslquarters.com, donate what you can, and know that you're helping a child keep warm this winter.
Join us in spreading a little comfort and a lot of kindness with KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Whether you park it, stripe it, or pave it, GoPave Utah has your blacktop covered at gopaveutah.com. Call or visit gopaveutah.com.
The new Inside Sources.
Well, our governor now has a proposal to have 10,000 new starter homes in the next year, and I think did you say something like 35,000 the next 3 years?
So in the couple of years ago, the governor had a plan. He had talked about affordable housing, right? He has continued to talk about that. It's something that the state needs desperately if we want our kids to be able to stay here for sure, right? You can go buy a starter home in a different state for in the 200,000s, right? $250,000 will get you a starter home in Texas or Tennessee, a bunch of other places across the United States, but not in Utah. So first of all, we want to thank the Stern team of Amada Real Estate for helping us know how to navigate the needs of Utah's housing market. And one of the things that has come up recently is how far behind we are on the goal of having those 35,000 starter homes. So when he announced this initiative, the governor, he said by 2028, we want to have 35,000. Well, as of this fall, there is a tracker that you can look online. I looked this morning. We have 5,800 out of 35,000.
And if you recall, by, 10 years from now, we need 2 million? Not 2 million new homes, but
no, it's
I forget what the year was.
40,
oh, no.
It's like 50 years from now, but
it's
still.
A long time. We
That's a long way out.
Then, yeah.
But the starter home conversation, right? And by starter homes, we're talking about standalone single-family homes that are smaller. They're on smaller lots. That they have a lot of times you're talking about used homes, right, that people are moving out of as they go to their next home, but not always. And we're also talking about condominiums, right? Are you going to buy a condo as your first thing, build equity, and then move into a single family home? So yesterday I attended a budget briefing for this upcoming fiscal year from the governor and the lieutenant governor. And one of the things that they were asked is, what are you anticipating? What are you hoping for with affordable housing? And he said, we are running behind. I want to see 10,000 units in the coming year, 10,000 in 1 year. And we've only had 5,800 in, I think, the last 2 years.
Well, we've got to incentivize new home development because a lot of our builders, and we've talked about this several times on this program, a lot of builders enjoy building the $1 million homes because they're $1 million homes, and it's hard to say, well, you can build 3 or 4 $400,000 homes, but it's not the same thing because the median price of a house in Utah today is something like $500,000 or $600,000.
It's close to $600,000, right? So, for any of our listeners out there who want to know what your home's true value is, you can learn your home's true value in just 30 seconds if you visit thesternteam.com, and you can find out more. We've talked to them often about this market. But what's interesting is as the governor was speaking yesterday, he was talking about we need, so it's a multi-pronged issue and a multi-pronged solution. So you mentioned builders. We need builders who are going to do large projects. And he said we need them to be building something like 1,000 at a time.
Right.
Right. And that would be, of course, like some kind of apartment building, really. But also, we have this issue with local governments, right? And there's this tension, is a nice way to say it, between local governments and the state government. And local governments, repeatedly, I hear people in local government say they have permitted building lots and the builders aren't building. And also, the state government has come in and said, well, we need you to do more on smaller lots. And if you don't hurry up and have some of those solutions out there for these affordable homes, we're going to do statewide zoning and we're going to override you.
Right. And of course, anytime you think about home ownership, you the three magic words: location, location, location. And so you have to think, where are the jobs going to be?
Yeah.
You can't just build 10,000 homes. I won't even pick an area, but an area where there's nothing going on. And you can't put all the homes along the Wasatch Front either.
Well, they're kind of going to have to be there.
There's only so much room in the inn, but there are certainly areas in the state, and you know, I don't even want to name them because there are so many areas that are growing quickly that are not along the Wasatch Front that could use starter homes to improve those areas. But you've got to expect that if you're building 35,000 starter homes in the next couple of years, at least 2/3 of those will be along the Wasatch Front, maybe more.
Yeah, and that's where the population growth is expected to be also, is largely along the Wasatch Front. And, you know, I'll pick a couple of areas because certainly down in Utah County, we're not completely built out in the east side of I-15, although I would argue that a lot of places are mostly built out. But when you go over to the west side, when you have Saratoga Springs and Eagle Mountain, you even have Cedar Fort if you go out far enough, there's quite a bit of land. The issue, of course, is water and other infrastructure. So it's that always is part of the conversation, but we're still expecting this population boom. And, you know, it's slowing slightly. Remember, we talked with a demographer about how much we can expect the population to grow. But we're even thinking that by the next census, we'll have enough people in this state that we might even qualify for a 5th congressional seat.
Right. And there's certainly growth outside the Wasatch Front. I mean, you talk about the St. George area, the Washington County continues to grow, Iron County, Cedar City area, Sevier County, Richfield. I mean, those are areas that continue to have significant growth. And that's, I don't mean to limit by any means that. And you would hope that building costs and land costs would be less in those areas, making starter homes more affordable than along the Wasatch Front. I mean, you buy a lot in Salt Lake County, you're going to spend a lot more money than you would perhaps then in Iron County.
Yeah, it's just. I think it's interesting. I think it's a super ambitious goal to say that we're going to add 10,000 homes in the next 12 months, and they'll all be affordable starter homes. Even the ones that are considered the more affordable ones, you're still talking about $350,000, right? Which, again, that can be hard when you're a young family just starting out.
So the legislature can certainly help, and I think the governor is going to get on top of this as well in two ways. One, incentivize builders to build starter homes, to be willing to jump up to the plate and build these homes that are costing less than $500,000, and to incentivize first-time home buyers by giving them a break with respect to either a down payment or a reduced interest for some period of time. The state has money to do that. The governor wants to do $10,000. I think we can in this state.
10,000 homes.
10,000 homes, right. We certainly can in this state put our money where our mouth is and make it available so that people can afford these homes, and so that builders will build them, and so that if you build them, they will come.
Maybe. One of the things I think is super interesting about this conversation about starter homes is what Ogden has been doing.
Right.
We talked about that, I think, in the summer even. They want the people who work in Ogden to be able to afford to live in Ogden. And so they have a number of incentives, some local and I think some with maybe a federal nexus, about getting people, firefighters and teachers, to be able to work and live in the same community, right? Instead of having to say, okay, well, I'm going to, live on the outskirts. That's how we get suburbs, right? Is you couldn't afford to live where you were working, and then you've got to commute in. Well, they have these innovative programs, but at least as far as a governor's priority, it's one of his priorities for the coming years to say we need more homes, we need more starter homes, and we need them quickly.
We had a jurisdiction, it may have been Ogden as well, that was loaning first-time home buyers a significant amount, like something like $10,000 toward the down payment on a house, with the idea that it's a loan and you don't pay it back until you sell your house.
Until you sell your house.
So what a great incentive that would be. Those are the kind of things that can be done on a local level, maybe the federal level, to get people into these first-time homes, get people buying homes, which that's what spurs the economy, let's face it, and to get builders involved in saying, hey, you know what, I want to jump on this.
We don't have a lot more time, but we've talked about this too, about mayors and city council people who lost their seats this election. And a lot of it seems to have to do with their willingness to put developments in, higher density developments, and the people who live in their communities are like, no, thank you. We don't want that here.
Yeah.
Right. So we know we need more affordable homes, but we don't want to hear.
Right. Once again, we do want to thank the Stern team of Amada Real Estate for their help in navigating the needs of the Utah housing market. They've been very helpful with us. And when we come back after the break, we expect a phone call from Representative Blake Moore in just a few moments to discuss what to know about the new announcements regarding Trump accounts. We talked about those earlier. That will provide all children born between 2025 and 2028 an automatic $1,000 deposit.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott, KSL's top story this hour. And it is breaking news. Nearly 9,000 customers are without power in Salt Lake County. Rocky Mountain Power says this is impacting people in the Salt Lake City, Mill Creek, and Holiday area. The cause is still under investigation, and the current estimated time of restoration is 1:30 this afternoon. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A Texas congressman will not have to face trial on corruption charges after he and his wife were pardoned by President Trump.
Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar was indicted in 2024 on charges he and his wife accepted $600,000 in bribes linked to the Azerbaijan government. President Trump suggested the prosecution was politically motivated because Cuellar, who represents a district in South Texas, spoke out against the Biden administration's border policy. In his statement announcing a pardon, the president said, "Henry, I don't know you, but you can sleep well tonight. Your nightmare is finally over." Brian Clark, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 362 points. The S&P is up 23. And coming up, the chill sticks around. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
Women go through many changes in their lives. And we believe each milestone matters. That every new candle represents another step in your story. Our healthcare experts support women at every stage of life. Because each chapter deserves to be celebrated. Women's health. Nurture what's next. Find care near you at mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health. Human kindness lives here.
A 15-year-old girl who chewed through a rope to escape a serial killer.
I used my front teeth to saw on the rope in my mouth.
The killer prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He's been convicted of murdering 2 young women, but suspected of many more.
Maybe there's another one in that area.
Follow and binge all episodes of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, available now wherever you listen.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Tito.
Looks to be moving along without any issues at this hour. Traveling in both directions, things are looking great. However, we do have a reported accident. It's in Utah County on the southbound I-15 on-ramp at Lehigh Main Street. It looks to be blocking the right lane and shoulder of that entry ramp. Also, drivers, look for lights out in Salt Lake, Mill Creek, and Holiday areas due to a current power outage. Treat all dark intersections as a four-way stop. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 40 today with partly cloudy skies. Highs remain right around there the next few days, and we'll see rain return on Saturday. And highs move up to the mid-40s. Right now, 36 and partly cloudy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We're working to get Blake Moore on the line, Congressman Blake Moore. But until then, I want to have a conversation with you about the governor's budget priorities.
He's had a lot going on lately.
I know.
AI conferences.
It's the time of year. So the governor every year, in conjunction with his government, it's GOMB, I think. So Governor's Office of Management and Budget, and it's run by Sophia DeCaro, who is he's a former legislator. But you know what? We're going to pivot back because we do have Congressman Blake Moore on the line.
We have Congressman Blake Moore on the line.
We'll drop everything for him.
That's breaking news, so yes. Congressman, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, easy on the breaking news there, but yeah, thank you.
Hey, look, we wanted to ask you some questions about these Trump accounts, and I saw your social media account, at least on X, about how you were there as this large donation from the Dell family was announced. And I wondered if you could just talk to our listeners about why you feel like this is such a big deal.
Yeah, I was able to announced that I was matching their $6 billion contribution with $60 to each of my kids' accounts. They got a kick out of that one. The reason this is honestly such a big deal is this has been in the works for a while. The Invest America team is led by a guy named Brad Gerstner out of kind of Silicon Valley. He had a bee in his bonnet with, income gap issues. Again, a wealthy, private equity guy, venture capital guy, focused on, hey, we're a growing income gap issue. How can I be involved? And there's always this chatter about, hey, we should be investing in kids early because IRAs and 401ks are such good economic tools, but we're not capturing the majority of their youth. And so most people start saving in an IRA at the age of 30. Think about it. You graduate college, you got a little bit of student debt. You go and get your first few years of your job in, and you say, hey, I can start saving for my own retirement. Maybe your company's contributing 401k, but then you do a little bit of a Roth. What this does, why this is monumental, is it immediately starts every child for the next 4 years with $1,000 in their investment account, and then they get to do two things. The economic prosperity will grow from that because compound interest, but they also get to be educated on financial tools with something that they own, not just some arbitrary textbook or some idea out there. Hey, you should learn about this particular type of, ETF or investment or something. They actually get to have it as their own. And so it's this unique time where we can invest $1,000 with seed funding in every child account, grow for the next for the next 4 years and see how this works. But what the Dell family did, what Michael and Susan Dell did, they said, hey, for the children that are 1 or 2 years old to the age of 10, we want to come and provide $6 billion, setting up 25 million accounts that are going to be seeded with $250, all philanthropic dollars, to help that whole cadre of youth initiate their own accounts. Now, these would be for neighborhood communities that average $150,000 of income or less. So trying to make sure that, disadvantaged areas, lower income areas get this benefit. It's amazing, right? And so it's going to be something it's transformational, and the kids get to watch their investments grow over the first quarter of their life.
So that's what we were trying to figure out, Representative, and I appreciate you being here, Congressman Moore. The Dell family donation, this $6 billion, is not exactly a part of the Trump account, or is it?
No, the work that was done on the Invest America initiative, which was later coined Trump accounts during this most recent bill, the work that was done there was galvanizing a lot of support from companies and philanthropists across the country to say, hey, we want to enact this law into Congress. Are you going to be there for when we get it done to be able to help also augment the support? Because, the government shouldn't be providing all of this equity into these accounts, but we had to at least start it with something. But the Dell family is like, hey, now that it's enacted, we can come in with our own contribution and help impact 25 million kids. And then Apple and Uber and all of these companies that are already involved in this initiative are now, hey, we're going to now, maybe every Christmas, we're going to give $250 to every employee's child's Trump account. And they'll start to do that more and more of that. And there's some tax advantage to it. You also have your 529 accounts, and they're kind of similar, but they work in tandem. As one's focused on education, and I think Trump accounts should be far more focused on longer term investment. But this gives opportunities for philanthropists, companies to start getting involved. We just needed to enact it into law, and that's what we accomplished last summer.
I have some more clarifying questions. So the Trump accounts, I'm sorry, I forgot the official name of them. It's for babies born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. Is that right?
That's where not the accounts, the $1,000 seed funding.
Okay.
So every child in America is going to be able to sign up for one of these, and you can already start doing it. But they can sign up for it. My kid's 13 years old. I'm going to sign him up for, but he doesn't get the $1,000 seed money. The $1,000 is for every kid born this year through the next 4 years.
Okay.
But the Dell money is for every kid age of 1 to 10. They all get $250 if they go and sign up, and they live in an area where it's $150,000 of annual income or less, median income.
So there's
two things at play here. There's the government-funded seed account of $1,000 for the next 4 years for child-born citizens born in this country. But philanthropists can contribute whatever they want to any Trump account, and any child, 5 years old, 9 years old, they can sign up for an account, and if they qualify, they should be able to get the $250 from the Dell family, and then they can keep adding to that.
So just another question, and we had this from a texter when we were talking about it earlier. Can parents withdraw these funds? What kind of parameters on there are on these accounts to make sure that they are there for the kids?
They cannot be touched till 18. The guardian has kind of a legal authority over the account, but it is strictly for that child, and they can't touch anything of it till 18. At which point they can access some of it. And then there's another access point at the age of 25 that allows them to do a little bit more, but there's a tax implication of it. And if you keep it in longer, that tax implication changes to some degree. It's pretty technical. And the Treasury will have all the guidance on that. But my hope is that, what I would do is, hey, you have a 529, invest in that, help them and make that your focus on education. But this Trump account, just put a little bit here, a little bit there, add to it, and make that about take that out when you're 30, when you're 40, 50 years old. I'm going to encourage my kids to not touch their Invest America or Trump account until they're 50 years old. And it's just because I have big fears of a retirement program or, Social Security, insolvency, and things like that. I want the next generation to be focused on saving for themselves and being able to, prepare for that. And this is what's going to sort of jumpstart that.
And remind us, Congressman Moore, the Trump account was a part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, correct? It's already been put in place.
Yeah. And the reason I got to be there yesterday was I was the bill sponsor for this. This individual named Brad that I mentioned out of California, he had worked with him. I'd met him at some casual events, and we got to talking about our shared passion for something like this. And so I was the House sponsor. Ted Cruz was the Senate sponsor, and me and the chairman of our committee and the speaker were able to go over to this press conference yesterday. And so that's why I'm. But it was one bill inside the package that we passed on July 4th.
And you're matching at what, 6, 7?
Nailed it. Very good.
Thanks, Congressman. That was Utah Congressman Blake Moore, who's a friend of the show, and thank you for joining us this morning. When we come back, Holly, I saw a picture of you on Thanksgiving. You had, I think, 20-some-odd people, a 24-foot-long table. Well, in Denver earlier this year, there was a table that was a mile long. We'll talk about that after the break.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
There's no place like home, but home ownership is slipping away in Utah, and young Utahns are being priced out of their own communities. The U.S. economy is built on the idea that 30% of your income should go towards housing. But in Utah, families are spending nearly 66% just to keep a roof overhead. On top of that, the average homeowner in Utah has nearly $400,000 in net worth. For renters, it's barely $10,000. And with Utah already on track to be short more than 153,000 homes by 2030, that gap is only growing. Every community in Utah plays a part in finding solutions. More homes mean more opportunity for teachers, nurses, police officers, and every family that makes Utah what it is. Learn more about Utah's housing shortage and what we can do to begin to fix it at demandmoresupply.com. That's demandmoresupply.com. Make your voice heard right now. Log on to demandmoresupply.com. demandmoresupply.com. Together, we can keep families close.
Holidays are here, the countdown to Christmas, and it's time for you to make your reservations at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. I have to tell you how festive it is, whether it's downtown Salt Lake City at 275 Southwest Temple or up at Hotel Park City. Just the atmosphere, the decor, it is spectacular at Ruth's Chris. Now, as great as that ambiance is, you're there for a steak, right? You're there for a great, great meal. And Ruth's Chris Steakhouse never disappoints. Pick out that perfect steak. It will be cooked to perfection, and it's not just steaks. They have the seafood and the poultry and other dishes and the desserts at this time of year, the side dishes. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, the perfect place to celebrate the holidays this year. And don't forget, the perfect stocking stuffer, a gift card from Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
When I asked Scott Lucky if his last name had anything to do with his success in the trucking industry, he laughed and said, "Well, Mike, I guess you could say I've always been lucky." But when I asked him how he and his family grew Lucky Distribution Services into the company it is today, he didn't talk about luck at all. "We work hard," he said. "We keep a close eye on the bottom line, and we treat our people the right way." In other words, Scott Lucky makes his own luck, which is precisely why he switched to Pure Talk Business. Last month, I paid the big guys $740 for 12 lines, he told me. This month, I paid Pure Talk $420 for the exact same service. Thousands of businesses all over the country are saving real money by switching to America's most dependable 5G network, and luck has nothing to do with it. Just dial pound 250 and say micro. That's pound 250 micro to switch to a wireless company that works as hard as you do. Pure Talk.
You know, most diets will help you lose a few pounds, but Soda weight loss will help you lose years. I lost 37 pounds on the Soda weight loss program 3 years ago, and I feel younger than I've felt in decades. And it's not because of how I look, it's because of how I feel.
But you do look younger,
Thank
too.
you.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and then I looked at the before and after pictures of myself and was like, wow.
It's something when you don't have to carry all of that excess weight around. And I was at a stage in my life where I didn't want to add drugs to my regimen. I wanted to reduce the number of medications I had to take. So the nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss taught me how to have a healthy relationship with food.
And it was so helpful that I could text my nutritionist anytime I wanted to for advice, which helped me learn what I needed to know so that I could keep it off. And right now, this is the perfect time to join, because if you join now, your partner joins for free. It's the perfect gift for both of you.
It's at Soda Weight Loss.
SOTAweightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Mr. Mac, suiting for every important chapter of your life. Weddings, proms, new job, any celebration, mission callings, and more. Mr. Mac's there to suit your needs with 9 locations or MrMac.com.
Inside Sources.
So there's a really interesting story. In fact, there's multiple stories. There's one that I saw in the New York Times earlier, I think this week or last week. No, it was this week. It was December 1st. So this story is about how a town in Vermont is, quote, staving off loneliness. And what they're doing is eating together. So once a month, they do a potluck where community members come and they can sit and chat and talk. And it's just super interesting because they are really addressing the issue of loneliness. So if you remember in 2023, Greg, the Surgeon General at the time, Vivek Murthy, said loneliness was an epidemic in the United States, right? And it was something that actually carried a risk of premature death that was comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Like, you're going to shorten your lifespan if you're lonely. And so what was interesting, what continues to be interesting, I guess, is in the 2025 World Happiness Report, sharing meals is as strongly tied to your well-being as income or employment status.
Yeah, and this time of year, you think about that more than any other time. And, of course, you should think about it all year. But loneliness and sharing meals should go together. This last week, was Thanksgiving. And it's a time when sometimes even family members you're not all that crazy about. You just get together. You just sit down and you talk, and people have great Thanksgiving dinners, and you know, it does both, gets the family together, and it also takes away that loneliness, because let's face it, who wants to have Thanksgiving dinner alone?
Right. And, you know, it's this community thing. And, you know, one of the things that surfaces often is how we have stopped sharing family meals even, right? And how that has declined. Like, we don't eat together as family. My family does. We eat every day at 6 o'clock. Every once in a while I'm late. But that has been consistent for a long time. And so sometimes my kids will say, well, who's coming over for dinner? And be like, I don't know. It's an open invitation, right? They know at 6 o'clock there's food. They can come over. But we do, the people who live at home, we eat together at 6 o'clock. But it's becoming more and more rare. And so sharing a meal is something that can really be impactful. And I loved this story by Amy Kobe from the Church News that she wrote about, and you teased it, about the mile-long table. And she's on the line with us. Thanks for joining us, Amy.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Greg mentioned in the lead up to this segment that for Thanksgiving, I had a 24-foot table, and we had 23 people. But you wrote about a mile-long table and thousands of people. I wonder if you could tell us about that story.
Yes. So that was in Denver earlier this year, before it got cold. And it just snaked through downtown Denver. And it's part of an organization, Longer Tables, that is working to create environments where people can do that, where they can get together. They provide the table and the food, and people come and show up, and they sit down with neighbors and people they've never met before. And one thing that I thought was really interesting, the founder and the director, Tim Jones, when I spoke to him, he said they found that it's really important to actually have the meal be family style. And so have the food in bowls and things throughout the table so that people are forced to say, hey, can you pass the peas? Can you pass the mashed potatoes? And that sometimes even gives people an excuse to reach out and say hi to someone that they normally wouldn't, but maybe they want to have a conversation with that person. He also suggested starting with something like a conversation starter, to not be embarrassed, to need that if you're inviting a neighbor over or something for a potluck, to even talk about meals that have been important or food that's important for your family or in your culture or your religious belief, and talk about food and what important memories are attached with it. And that's a great place to start having a real connection with people, not just talking about the weather or things like that, but really getting into some core memories and things like that to get to know people who you have never met before.
And you mentioned religious groups and other people getting together. And in your article, you mentioned that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints members had joined in this effort in Denver. Was that part of an organized joining of that?
Yes, it was. So that was through Just Serve, which is the church's platform for which anyone can use. It's an app and website where you can go and find service opportunities. And so a group of members in the Denver area saw that, hey, this group has listed that they need people to help set up tables and chairs and prepare food and all of this stuff. And so they helped volunteer at the event and put it on, and then also afterward sat down for the meal and joined in. And so that also service is another thing that I was looking back and as I was just preparing for this interview, some BYU researchers bringing this up just during the pandemic took the opportunity to look at some ways to combat loneliness and found that service was one of the most helpful things with people in the United States and the United Kingdom and Australia. In one study, they found that 10% of participants listed themselves as severely lonely, but after doing things, this was during COVID too, after doing things that were just simple things, like even recommending a dentist to a neighbor, they felt less lonely and felt like they had some kind of connection with someone.
So, Amy, I'm seeing when you wrote about this story, 3,400 people came together. What do you feed 3,400 people?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, yeah, they had a kind of some chicken. They did have, I think, a local catering company that provided like salads and chicken and rolls and things that could just be easily, passed along. And so that people could just, the goal was really to talk. It wasn't so much the food. And the founder, when I interviewed him too, he said, even if you have a potluck and everyone brings dessert, that's great. And at least you're getting together and your neighbors, if you're inviting people over, it doesn't matter what people bring, as long as people feel like they're welcome to come and they have a place to go, that they feel like, hey, I can go and talk to people and my neighbors are real people.
And people don't often just get together just to get together, but if you can plan it around a meal or around some setting like that, Amy, it just seems like it brings people together. They're sharing that together and they're sharing conversation together. What a great idea. It must have been well attended and well received.
It was, yeah. So a mile long is kind of, I guess that's the goal. If you could, that's as big as it can get. But yeah, even if it's just you and one other neighbor, they say that is just as impactful and can help attack that epidemic of loneliness.
Thank you so much for joining us today. That was Amy Kobeg with the Church News and writing about this mile-long table event in Denver earlier this year.
Denver's the Mile High City,
I know.
so that kind of makes sense.
And she mentioned something that I think is important, and that is the connection we have between food and memories. I think she called them core memories, right? So the holidays a lot of times brings that up, right? Do you remember your grandmother's gingerbread baking or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
There really are.
Or you'll smell something that reminds you.
That's right. There really are. And, we've been highlighting stories of kindness here on KSL News Radio. Our KSL Kindness campaigns powered by One Kind Act a Day, which is a project by the Simnani Family Foundation. People can learn more at powerofkind.org. But feeding 3,400 people sounds like an act of kindness.
Right. And we're waiting right now. We may be breaking away for a press conference with the Salt Lake District Attorney's Office. If you recall, Holly, the No Kings rally occurred here in Salt Lake. I think it was in June. And during the course of that event, Afa Alu was killed. Arturo Gamboa was shot. And in spirit of full disclosure, Arturo is my client. We are about to find out what the District Attorney's Office is going to do about that. They've been investigating it, and it hasn't been an easy case. Just from a legal perspective, the shooter, and I don't even remember the name. We may or may not learn that right now. They were trying to decide, I think, from a legal perspective, what level of culpability someone would have in that situation, because someone was killed, and then you have to argue, you have to consider the whole self-defense or defense of others, or was there something else going on? And so it's taken a little while to get resolved, but apparently we're about to learn what that decision is from the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office. We'll break, but if that press conference starts, we'll join it in progress.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. Governor Spencer Cox has unveiled his $3.7 billion budget proposal for the next fiscal year. Cox says this total is about $300 million less than the funding they expected to have next year due to federal cuts. The proposal requests $50 million for the new homeless campus on Salt Lake City's west side and a 4% increase in funds for public education. And an update on the power outage in Salt Lake County area. It looks like the outage has been resolved. Still no word on what caused it. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump has barred citizenship applications for people from 19 countries.
The United States has paused all pending applications from the 19 so-called countries of concern, meaning Afghanistan, Iran, Venezuela, meaning even those with pending green card applications will be subject to a pause and a review. Now, a memo that was posted on Tuesday said that anyone from the travel ban list and is in the United States would have their application for asylum and other benefits, including a green card, paused. Now, a lawyer that I spoke with last night said that this is going to be challenged in court.
ABC's Luke Barr reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 370 points. The S&P is up 21 points. And coming up, rain returns this weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Think of a time when life knocked the wind out of you, turned you completely upside down. Now, imagine if no one showed up. That's the reality for too many in Utah. Every day, people battle mental health challenges, addiction, and homelessness, often in silence, often feeling invisible.
We're going to go live to the Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill, who is holding a press conference related to the No Kings fatal shooting.
And we are here this morning to share with you our findings from the June 14th shooting at the No Kings March in downtown Salt Lake City. Before I go, I just want to take a second to thank the Salt Lake City Police Homicide Unit, our homicide team from the Salt Lake County DA's office, and also Ms. Laura Alu, who's the widow of Mr. Afa Alu, for their patience and also their hard work in this whole process. Before I announce that, let me share with you, excuse me, the timeline that has led to this moment. On June 14, 2025, law enforcement officers responded to a shooting at the No Kings March in downtown Salt Lake City. At the scene, law enforcement discovered that one person, Mr. Arthur Afa Alu, was found with a gunshot wound to the head. Mr. Alu was transported to a hospital where he ultimately succumbed to his injuries. At the scene, they also found a suspect later identified as Arturo Gamboa, who was taken into custody at that time. At the scene, they also discovered one member of the safety team with the march organizers named Matt Alder, who was involved with the shooting, having fired, as they would later discover, 3 shots. Salt Lake City Police Department began to investigate and gather evidence at the scene. Mr. Gamboa's original arrest, detention, would have expired on June 19th. Since the investigation was still ongoing and nothing yet has been presented to the DA's office, the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office requested an extension to continue to hold Mr. Gamboa from the court, and the court granted that, extending our hold to Monday, June 23rd. On Friday, June 20th at 9 a.m., preliminary presentation of the investigation was presented to the homicide team of the District Attorney's Office. In all homicide cases, homicide cases are presented to the members of the entire homicide team and our senior leadership as a general screening. At this presentation, it was determined that there was not sufficient evidence to make any final decisions on charging anyone, and this time was going. Since the investigation was ongoing, no final decision would happen before the 23rd. So a decision was made to release Mr. Gamboa, and our homicide chief, Josh Graves, filed a motion to release Mr. Gamboa, which the court signed that same day, which was June 20th. On July 2nd, Salt Lake City PD made a more comprehensive presentation of their investigation to this office. At this presentation, some additional requests and follow-up were requested, and the investigation remained open and active. The homicide team continued to work the case, and the case presented a very nuanced and complex set of facts. For example, we have some very liberal open carry laws in the state of Utah. We also do not have any specific prohibitions against guns in public places or events, and like some other states also have. We have also a jurisdiction that provides a safe harbor to the use of lethal force against others, which had to be a part of any ongoing consideration. The statute in Utah in part provides that an individual is justified in threatening or using force against another individual when and to the extent that an individual reasonably believes that force is necessary to defend an individual or another individual against the imminent use of unlawful force. In theory, you can have 2 individuals open carry and simultaneously have a situation where one may use deadly force if the objective facts support an imminent fear for one's life or the lives of others. Our homicide team grappled with these such scenarios and possible contradictions in the vacuum of Utah state law. And one consideration at that time was that the nuance and the complexity of the issues that we had to see if we could avail ourselves of other processes. And so we decided that one option was to request a grand jury. Unlike other states where a prosecutor can ask for a grand jury, in Utah we have to make that request to a panel of 5 judges to authorize a grand jury. Since the grand juries only meet quarterly, the panel had already met, so we requested an expedited or an emergency request on July 14th, which was denied on July 18th. We were told that the next meeting would be in October and to make that request at that time. On September 18th, the court reached out to our team to let us know that if we wanted to request a grand jury panel review, to do so by October 6th. We certified and requested a grand jury by October 6th and subsequently presented the panel to the panel on the 16th, requesting that grand jury. The panel generally has 30 days by which to make their decisions. After we had done so, our homicide team continued to work the evidence in the case. We also learned that on October 14th, there was a case that was ruled upon in Massachusetts, which had some similar issues, and that started to help us clarify the legal challenges that we were confronting as a team. And that helped us to start to actually help us solidify a decision at that time. However, since we had already requested a grand jury panel, we wanted to wait to make sure that we respected the process. On November 5th, we heard back from the panel that they had denied our request for a grand jury. But as we had already started to move in light of the case from Massachusetts, we had one last thing that we wanted to finish getting done, which was that we wanted to get the forensic information as to the bullet that was used that caused the death of Mr. Alu to be also reviewed. And we finally got that final notification of that review on November 20th. In the interim, we also met with the family early on, and then as late of yesterday, we met with the widow of Mr. Alu and their legal defense counsel, and shared with them the direction of our conclusion. And that brings us to today. Today, as we speak, we are filing one count of second-degree manslaughter against Matt Alder, and also formally declining any charges against Mr. Arturo Gamboa. Please note, these are allegations only, and Mr. Alder is presumed to be innocent of any wrongdoing as is in our system. So now I will share with you that we file our charges on the following probable cause. On June 14, 2025, at approximately 2000 hours, Salt Lake City police were dispatched to a shooting that occurred at 151 South State Street in Salt Lake County along the route of No King's March that was occurring in downtown Salt Lake City that day. Upon arrival, officers located Arthur Afa Alu lying in the street with an apparent gunshot wound to his head. Mr. Alu was transported to the hospital, where he was later declared deceased. Several witnesses directed officers toward the corner of 100 South and 200 East, where an individual that matched the initial description of the shooter was wrestling over a backpack with another person. The officers detained the individual, later identified as Arturo Gamboa, and observed blood on his hands. Gamboa was wearing a black shirt, black cargo pants, and black boots. Detectives located 3 loaded rifle magazines in Gamboa's cargo pants, along with a knife. In his backpack, detectives located a disassembled AR-15 rifle, a Venezuelan flag, and other identification documents. Gamboa had a flesh wound to his outside left abdomen from an apparent gunshot. Officers also made contact with an individual identified as Matthew Scott Alder, who was wearing a high-visibility green vest. Alder was accompanied by several other individuals also wearing high-visibility vests, who later were identified as a volunteer safety team. Through the course of several interviews, detectives learned that the primary purpose of the safety team was to provide medical care, crowd management, and de-escalation. All safety team members wore highly visible vests and carried first aid kits and radios. Several safety team members voluntarily carried firearms. There did not appear to be any formal training to be a volunteer for the safety team. While on the scene, Alder made several statements that were captured on a responding officer's body cam. Specifically, he stated, "The guy was around the corner, had an AR, and was ducked down and was loading his rifle. I fired a couple of shots towards the building to ward him off and to get him to stop, and he just took off." Later in this interaction, he stated, "I can't believe it. I saw him. He was loading an AR right there. I can't believe it. I pulled behind the column and I took shots at him." On the evening of the shooting, detectives interviewed safety team member AF, who stated that his attention was first drawn to Gamboa as he walked northbound on State Street near the Maverick and Liberty Sky apartment buildings. AF observed that Gamboa was dressed in all black with a hood over his head, carrying a black backpack and something tinting out of it. He then observed Gamboa split between the building and hide behind a column. Gamboa began to pull what AF recognized as a part of a rifle out of his backpack and was struggling to pin it together to the other portion. AF began to be concerned, stating that he understood open carry, but this felt different as Gamboa was assembling it under cover. AF recalled calling out, "Gun, gun, gun," over his radio. Gamboa then began moving towards State Street, towards the march, and AF saw the barrel of the rifle, and he believed that Gamboa was about to commit a mass shooting. He was joined by Alder and recalled both of them yelling, "Stop, drop it, drop the gun," but Gamboa was not responding. AF stated that he should have dropped him, but by the time Gamboa was moving, AF did not have a shot. AF stated, quote, "There's no way I can shoot him when he's running towards a crowd. I mean, I'm accountable for every bullet that comes out of my gun," end quote. As Gamboa continued to move towards the street, AF recalled Alder, who was standing to his left, fire at Gamboa. Several days after the incident, Alder was interviewed by Salt Lake City police detectives. Alder stated that he was getting a drink at Maverick when he noticed AF waving him to come to his location. When he got to AF's location, he observed Gamboa in complete black gear, black hooded, black everything, with an AR-15 in a lower position. He described Gamboa being tied up against the wall and observed his right hand sliding up the weapon, which he believed was him, quote, "charging the handle," end quote, making it ready to fire. He then described Gamboa psyching himself up and hunched down like he was in a combat mode. Alder removed his 9mm firearm and recalled thinking, "Oh my God, this is happening. This is really bad. Somebody's going to get hurt." Gamboa began moving towards the crowd, and when Alder yelled, "Stop," Gamboa didn't respond. Alder stated that is when he took his first shot. After this shot, Alder stated that Gamboa continued to move towards the crowd, and he yelled, "Get on the ground," and saw Gamboa's head turn towards him with the rifle still moving up from a lower position. He shot 2 more times at him, thinking, "Oh my God, I have to fire. If I please God, don't let me have to fire, but I want people to be as safe as I can." Alder demonstrated where he believed Gamboa was located at the time he fired. During the first 2 shots, he placed Gamboa to the south side of the Liberty Sky apartment building. For the 3rd shot, he placed Gamboa to the west of the corner of the building. Alder told detectives that he believed Gamboa was going to mag dump into the crowd of people to kill as many people as he could. He told detectives he observed other people open carry that day, and it did not cause him concern, but Gamboa's behavior scared the hell out of me. Detectives interviewed witness LF, who submitted a detailed statement shortly after the shooting. LF stated she was walking southbound on the east sidewalk of State Street when she observed security under the carport of Maverick building, yelling at a person behind her and drawing their weapons, giving commands to drop your weapon. LF turned around and observed the guy in black walking out towards State Street, kind of on guard, not really concerned, but also not just casual. LF noted that the male was wearing black from top to bottom, with only his eyes and hands visible. He was carrying a mean-looking rifle. LF stated that the male was holding the gun in his right hand with his, quote, "finger not on the trigger, but it was outstretched beyond the trigger guard," end quote, and that his left hand was on the barrel. LF stated that the barrel was in a downward angle and that if it had fired, it would have hit her feet or legs. She said security continued to yell commands at him, and I understand the protest was loud, but it wasn't so loud that you couldn't hear someone yelling at you. And the male looked like he was fixed on State Street. LF stated security fired one shot at the male, and she began running when she heard two more shots fired. LF concluded her interview stating, quote, "Because of the man in black, I was concerned for the lives of everyone around me, and the guy that shot the gun didn't scare me," end quote. Detectives recovered multiple videos that captured portions of the incident. In one video from the dash cam of a private security car parked between the buildings, Gamboa can be seen jogging up the east sidewalk of State Street before turning east into the alleyway. Gamboa was dressed in all black from head to toe, carrying a backpack. In another video with a similar angle that captures the alleyway, Gamboa is observed behind a column in front of a garage door on the south side of the Liberty Sky apartment building. Within seconds of taking this position, AF is observed watching Gamboa from the sidewalk. Gamboa is bending over and removing items from his backpack and manipulating the items from behind the column. Approximately 55 seconds after Gamboa took this position, he is observed putting a strapped item over his shoulder as AF now continues to observe him from the carport area on the north side of the Maverick building. 22 seconds after Gamboa put the strap over his shoulder, Alder is seen joining AF under the carport while Gamboa is still behind the column of the apartment building. 7 seconds later, Gamboa begins walking towards State Street, carrying his backpack and the rifle. As he walks by an air conditioning unit near the building, he is seen throwing his backpack over his shoulder. 2 seconds later, he reacts quickly and begins to run around the corner of the building to the sidewalk and runs north. As this is occurring, Alder and AF are observed with their arms extended and firearms drawn as they stood just south of an exit arrow painted on the carport driveway. Alder continues moving north with his arms extended, stepping over the arrow. In yet another separate video from the apartment balcony on the west side of State Street, briefly captured the beginning of the shooting. Gamboa is observed walking upright towards State Street, with the barrel of his rifle pointing down towards the ground. Alder and AF can be seen standing south of the exit arrow when a shot rings out. The video then pans to the right, away from their location, and two more shots can be heard. Approximately 1 second passes between each shot. Another video was taken by DI from his balcony of the Liberty Sky apartments directly above where the incident occurred. In that video, AF is observed waving for Alder to come to his location as he is observing Gamboa. The video pans towards the march. When it pans back to the scene, Alder is seen walking towards the carport. The video pans back to the march, and approximately 12 seconds later, the words, get down on the ground, end quote, can be heard, followed by 3 gunshots. After the third gunshot, another command of, quote, get down on the ground, end quote, is audible. The video pans back towards the scene 1 to 2 seconds later after the third shot, and Alder is now on the north side of the exit arrow, walking northbound.
We're listening to Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill. He's holding a press conference related to the No Kings fatal shooting, where he's announced they will be filing second-degree manslaughter charges against the peacekeeper and dismissing all charges or even potential charges against Arturo Gamboa.
In DI's video. So you have DI's video, and it captured JU. We saw a camera being left, so we were able to identify and recover those photographs. In the first photograph, Alder is depicted with his handgun raised, forward pointing north down the sidewalk. Gamboa is seen running northbound towards the end of the Liberty Sky building. Furthermore, in the same photograph, there are 3 individuals, one standing, 2 seated, that were in what appears to be Alder's direct line of fire and were in between Alder and Gamboa at the time Gamboa had rounded the corner of the building and during the third shot. Several other people are also depicted walking on the sidewalk. Mr. Alu's body was located next to a car parked along the east side of State Street, adjacent to a parking lot north of the Liberty Sky building. The distance from Mr. Alu's body to the arrow that Alder was standing near is approximately 49.3 meters, approximately 150 feet. The approximate path of the fatal shot from Alder's location passed 2.8 meters west of the corner of the Liberty Sky building and continued in a northwestern direction until striking Alu. So that was 2.8 meters from the corner of the building as you would go into the sidewalk. That's approximately 6 feet. After the shots were fired, detectives compiled a video surveillance of Gamboa's flight from the scene. Gamboa is seen running near a parking lot to the north of the Liberty Sky building, carrying his rifle seconds after the shooting. Detectives believe that the video shows that Gamboa did not have a magazine inserted into his rifle at that moment. Gamboa is then seen running into a parking garage where he removes his hoodie and places his rifle back into his backpack. He then walks back into the crowd of protesters, passing several officers. Witness S.H. observed a rifle in Gamboa's backpack and seized his bag from him and called police to his location, where Gamboa was taken into custody. Detectives obtained another video depicting the moment Mr. Alu was struck. In that video, Alu was facing southwest, filming the parade as it passed by. He is standing near a parked car and begins to walk west into the march when 3 shots can be heard. Alu falls to the ground immediately after the 3rd shot. The report of the medical examiner ruled that Alu's immediate cause of death was a gunshot wound that entered through his left temple, traveling left to right, front to back. A 9mm bullet was recovered from his head. Detectives examined the rifle recovered from Gamboa's backpack and observed what appeared to be a dent to the handguard consistent with a bullet impact. Gamboa also sustained a flesh wound from the gunshot to his lower side abdomen. Based on the review of the video evidence, it is believed that these 2 impacts resulted from the first 2 shots fired by Alder. At the scene of the shooting, detectives recovered a bullet jacket fragment under the carport near Alder's location. Ballistic testing from Salt Lake City Police Crime Lab determined that the fired bullet jacket and the fired bullet recovered from Mr. Alu's head were fired by Alder's Smith & Wesson 9mm handgun. The fired bullet recovered from Mr. Alu had no markings or damage indicative of a ricochet. Our office has already communicated with the legal counsel for Mr. Alder, and we will be requesting a summons. At this time, I'm happy to answer some limited questions. Yes?
Why issue a summons and not seek detention?
He has been he's been cooperating. He is not considered to be a flight risk. And at this stage, we have issued a summons, and his counsel has agreed for that. Yes.
Arturo Gamboa was also shot. Why is he not being treated as a victim in this case?
That's a great question. So here's the challenge that I've sort of presented. And so let me first of all just read to you the declaration that we have from Mr. Gamboa, and which we sent out to his counsel as well today. After applying the submitted evidence to existing Utah firearm laws and case law, our office has determined that there is insufficient evidence to charge Mr. Gamboa with a criminal offense for his involvement in the fatal incident during the No Kings protest on June 14, 2025. Although Mr. Gamboa engaged in what could reasonably be perceived as alarming and irresponsible conduct by assembling an AR-15 under the cover during a mass gathering, he was lawfully permitted to carry the rifle in a concealed and subsequently open manner under existing Utah law. At the point Mr. Gamboa was engaged by members of the self-described safety team, there is insufficient evidence that he committed a clear violation of criminal law, such as aggravated assault, possession of a dangerous weapon with intent to assault, or any other firearm related to offenses. So as I mentioned to you, we have very liberal open carry laws in the state of Utah. And you can open carry. There are no prohibitions. The only entity that can create any prohibitions, and that would be our legislature, our policymakers. And so as such, in the state of Utah, everybody gets to carry if they want to. And if somebody freaks out, that's not it's not your fault. It's supposed to be the fault of the person who freaks out. And so we don't have any specific articulated offenses by which we can charge him with. So that's why we declined to file charges on him.
But no, why is there no charge reflecting Arturo Gamboa as a victim?
Okay.
He was shot.
Great question. So let me follow up on that. So what is interesting about Utah's law, since everybody gets to open carry, that we also have a very robust self-defense justification law. And so, is it logical and conceivable that I can have two independently open carry individuals where the conduct of one, so you look at status, conduct, and context, which may give rise to a self-defense claim. So as we stated in our probable cause statement, that the conduct may give rise to the perception of Alder that there was something for him to be worried about, and therefore the law would allow him, in the totality of those circumstances, to use lethal force. And this is the loophole that has been created by the vacuum by our policymakers that unfortunately could create hazard for innocent bystanders. And so as we went through the analysis of what we could charge, what would be reasonable, hence as we stated in our probable cause statement, I have the initial observation of AF. I have the initial observation of LF. I have Alder's perception and the totality of what is occurring. Now, while those circumstances can give rise in an objective way, but it is also what is otherwise protected behavior. And that is the thing that we were grappling over as we continue to work this case in sort of the vacuum that we find ourselves in without any clear-cut clarity, which can be enunciated either direction by our policymakers. If you go to an LDS church, you can't carry a gun in there. If you go to watch jazz, you can't carry a gun there. Those are private folks. But when it comes to any dangers that are inherently created in public space, that is the responsibility of our public policymakers. And so we found there's this gray area, this loophole, if you will, where the right accidental circumstances can create this very nuanced, complex problem that confronted us in this analysis.
So some people thought when Arturo Gamboa was arrested, there was a double standard because Matt Alder was not arrested at the same time. Now some people might say there's a double standard in reverse. You're charging Alder and no charges against Gamboa.
Okay, let me see how I can respond to that. So let me take the first part first there. You have a shooting that occurs. It may be a mass shooting. It is a dynamic situation that is occurring. Officers are responding. People are being identified. And within the information that is available to the officers, it is my belief they acted appropriately based on the information that they had. Their job is to secure evidence. Their job is to secure and contain and create a zone of safety. And so they, based on what they had, arrested Mr. Gamboa. And as we said, our process is, we got an extension. And we were presented with that information so we could look at preliminarily. We met in this room on Friday, but we also determined at that time that we didn't have any final decision. So we made the motion for his release. That's our process, and based on what the officers had. Now, as to the second part of your question, again, we don't direct investigations. Police do those investigations. Mr. Alder was cooperating, making statements. He continued to make that information available as the investigation proceeded. Now, your last part of the question, Brian.
Well, the question is this a double standard in reverse?
No. So we follow the evidence. We follow what the evidence gives us. We follow what the applicable law is. And we went through a very sort of arduous process internally with our entire homicide team. And we tried to turn every stone we could. This is a very unique, nuanced first impression given in the sort of the vacuum of this reality that we find ourselves in. And so our commitment is to follow the law. And let me sort of quote to you one of the things. As I said, there was this case that came out on October 14th of this year in Massachusetts. And it gave us the analysis and also what we are arguing here, which is we believe that the third shot was the reckless shot. And while you may have a right to use lethal force, that doesn't mean that that lethal force can be used in a reckless manner. And the language that I liked from the case from there, and I think this captures sort of the nuanced challenge that we have. An assailant assumes the risk of being killed by her victim. A bystander, however, does nothing to trigger the victim's use of deadly force and cannot be held to have assumed the same risk as the assailant simply by being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I think that fits into what we're saying, that it is reckless conduct. That third bullet, almost 3 meters to the left of the building, over and through individuals who are sitting there at a large rally that is being fired down when you have a person standing next to you, Mr. AF, who says, "I'm responsible for every bullet I send down." To us, that is reckless conduct, and that is what we're charging. Manslaughter based on the evidence that we had.
This is KSL AM Salt Lake City, KSL FM Midvale. Thank you for joining us for Midday. I'm Maria Chaleos. You've been listening to a news conference. LA County's district attorney filing a criminal charge in the deadly shooting at the No Kings protest earlier this year. A case that's taken nearly 6 months of forensic reviews, witness interviews, and legal hurdles. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera is live at the DA's office where Sim Gill just announced that decision. Eric?
Maria, Sim Gill says his office is now charging 43-year-old Matt Alder with second-degree manslaughter in the death of Afa Alu and dropping all charges against Arturo Gamboa, who was initially arrested but never formally charged. Gill says on June 14th, 2 peacekeepers approached Gamboa, who was carrying a rifle near the protest. As they moved in, Alder allegedly fired 3 shots into the crowd, injuring Gamboa and killing Alu. Prosecutors didn't have enough evidence in June to hold Gamboa past his arrest deadline. Detectives later brought a fuller case in July, and Gill attempted to take it to a grand jury, but judges rejected an expedited hearing, and the panel declined to proceed in October. Gill says final forensic testing came back November 20th, and today the evidence supports charging Alder alone. He remains presumed innocent under the law. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
And we will have more analysis on the charge from KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas at 12:15. Advocates for day laborers say they are deeply concerned after Salt Lake City police shot and killed 40-year-old Jose Hernandez near a Home Depot in late October. Luis Valentin with the National Day Laborer Organizing Network told KSL.com several workers who witnessed the confrontation are shaken and that Hernandez was known as quiet and keeping to himself.
Some of the workers knew that he was from Peru, but some others were saying no, he was from El Salvador. But our biggest priority right now is to find the family.
Salt Lake City police say Hernandez threw a rock at officers and the use of force investigation is still underway. Crime has decreased almost 11% in Salt Lake City this year, but there are still a lot of challenges to tackle for the police chief who took over in March. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports.
Chief Brian Redd has many goals to improve crime rates, including a focus on vehicle burglaries and excessive noise in neighborhoods. But there's also the crossroads of 4 issues.
Well, we're going to continue to address the issues around the intersection of crime and homelessness, addiction, and mental illness.
Chief Redd also wants more drones. He says those can be deployed quickly after a crime happens and scope out the area before officers arrive. His challenges for the new year include a proposed 1,300-bed homeless campus, funding 49 new full-time positions, and better pay for existing officers. Chief Redd also hopes to address a small uptick in violent crime. Tammy Kikuchi, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. What's happening on the roads, Tito?
Got a nice trouble-free drive this hour as you make your way in either direction on I-15. It does appear we have an accident. It looks to be on the on-ramp from northbound I-15 at 3300 South in Salt Lake. It's out of traffic and off to the right shoulder. Other than that, I-80, I-215, and the 21st South Freeway all look to be in great shape. 'Tis the season. Time to stock up on Winder Farms' famous eggnog, milk, and new creamy chocolate milk. Visit Smith's
Day with Maria Chaleos. We'll have more analysis on the charge from KSL legal analyst